Welcome one and all. We are here in the 5th season of the Umzansi Esports League in the final week of this league portion, well, quote-unquote semi-finals portion of play. But after this, it's all going to be about these all-important grand finals. So this week is the last opportunity that these squads have in the PUBG mobile side of things to earn their place in the top 16, earn their place into the grand finals weekend, and of course, try to compete for that all-important prize pool of $17,600, 15,100 of it going towards PUBG Mobile. Myself, I'm Sneh here hosting the proceedings, and I will be joined by some of the greatest casters from the African region. We have ourselves Actfire, we have ourselves Viper, and gentlemen, with 1 week of action to go, only 2 days of competition, Viper, this is where it really comes down to the line, right? Because if you do not do enough over these next 2 days, that's it. You have nobody else to blame but yourself, no further opportunities to try and get into that finals weekend, and you have to be watching from the sidelines. And of course, none of these squads came here for that. So tell us, what do you think you're going to be expecting over the next 2 days? But more importantly, how are you, good sir? We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man's been good. Man's been, chatting the territory, just moving around, trying to make sure everything is working out quite well. But yeah, concerning the teams that are currently moving into the final days of the semi-final, and man, it's going to be an hectic time, especially for the ones that are looking to actually get into that final position that are just on the edge. And trust me, it is going to be really, really hectic game, I must say, because the ones that are sitting on top already, they are just going to be cruising around trying to, have fun at this point in time. And every single other team down below are just sweating their behinds off to get themselves into that final.
Of course, to get themselves into that final, they'll have several opportunities to do so tonight on week number 9, day number 1. Of course, how this is going to be working is, as usual, we're going to be having 4 maps here in the semifinals of the PUBG mobile side of things. And those 4 maps, throughout the league portion, we saw what the first 3 maps always were. It was always Erangel, it was always Sanhok, it was always Miramar. But here, Actfire, we have the 2nd edition of Miramar at the very end of proceedings. We've seen last week just how big of an impact this can have, because teams that are able to perform on both Miramars necessarily have the edge and the advantage, or at the very least, they used to coming into this particular proceedings. Do you think that particular characteristic is going to carry over into today, where the team that we see do well on Erangel in part 1 is also going to do well on Erangel part 2?
Yeah, I think so. So sort of like what we've seen is it's a second, option for the teams to perform again. It's like they have another chance to be able to express themselves, because Erangel is that map that everyone's used to when it comes to battling out. So yeah, that definitely does count for them.
It's going to count a lot, because they need those performances not just to get themselves into the top 16, but there's a reason they want to be part of that top 16. They're competing for this $15,100 prize pool, which of course gets distributed quite starkly, going from position 1 all the way down to position 24. Viper, if you're in this lobby right now, you know that you've already earned yourself, guaranteed no matter what, $185. It's not terrible, but my God, it's a damn sight worse than $3,680 from position number 1.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. But hey, just for participating, getting up to that 24th position, you get $185. It's something, man. At least it's like a little rub to your elbow, like thank you for the effort and thank you for coming. And definitely getting a reward nonetheless is always an encouragement to do more, always an encouragement to push towards that 3,680 right on the top spot.
One of the things that the Umzansi Esports League has done a lot differently from various other organizations in the past is that we ensure if you can get to this upper echelon of the Umzansi Esports League, you are guaranteed some prize money, whether or not you do well as you would have imagined or not. However, the big thing is that number 1 spot, $3,680, is a pretty penny. The very interesting and intriguing thing about this here, Actfire, as we look at what these rosters are going to be looking like for tonight, because of course we do have groups B and C taking on each other as we saw earlier on in the schedule. The distribution of that money, when it's spread amongst 5 players, I've always seen this happen within other esports that I cover, right? Whenever you have this much money being spread across a lot of players, it can really create tension within the team. Any mistake is not just being like, hey man, you messed up, but somebody can look at you and be legitimately like, you've cost me money in my actual wallet. Talk to us about how do these squads ignore that fact and just try to make sure that they play the cleanest PUBG Mobile possible without having to be in the situation of, hey, my teammate is making a mistake that's going to make us all poorer down the line.
Yeah, I feel like personally, like, a lot of these teams do need psychologists to work with, and to keep them to keep them, their minds really steady on the game, because I've seen a lot of times when I've worked with teams and I see them make a little mistake, and then there's someone who brings in that negativity. So what a lot of them try to do is understand each other's game, to a very large extent. They do sort of keep themselves accountable. They don't take things personal. When it comes to taking corrections. I mean, I'm talking about a lot of the teams that I've actually seen, sort of like succeed over time. Like they hold themselves really accountable, and they learn to, sort of like take correction, especially from the IGL, and they hold each other accountable like a lot. So if one person makes a mistake and it's clear, they go back and watch the video. He's not going to go about saying, "Oh no," and coming up with excuses and all that. But he holds himself like really accountable. Like, yeah, I made that mistake. I'll try as much as possible to do better next time. If I can. So yeah, that's something that I've seen within the guys at the top.
Some of these teams at the top, of course, are some of the squads like Mad Knight, who is currently #1 in the overall leaderboard, very far ahead of everybody else skill-wise, if not necessarily points-wise. Of course, there's several other squads that are not too far behind them. We see this Real Insider squad that is right now occupying a position not too far away from where Mad Knight is at the top of page 2. One thing that's quite interesting, though, Viper, is the deeper we get into how proceedings go, the less it's possible to start thinking about, remember all the conversations we used to have in the league portion saying, hey, these squads are holding back, they're sandbagging, not giving us their full performance. The deeper we go, the less likely that is. But what I find very interesting has been the fact that over the last 2 weeks, the positions in the overall leaderboard have changed primarily due to standout performances. Some team and some squad has one great day, and that's all they need to lock themselves into the top 16. Are there any squads that you've seen today, especially these squads I want to talk about here in Zimbi, Your Killer Is, Delta Squad, squads that are not necessarily sitting in the full safety of the top 16? Can we envision them having some of these standout performances required to bump them into that finals contention?
That is a really tough one to tough not to crack right now. But I would say from past experiences, if they could still live up to the name, if they could bring up the experiences they've had from all the events they've participated in, probably we might be seeing a team like Fear pulling off something along the line and finding themselves getting up to that second page or something to put themselves back in the game. Or possibly Inzimbi, I've not seen too much from Inzimbi. Unfortunately, they've not been able to keep themselves up in terms of placement, but I believe they have the potential if they can put in a lot more work as well. On a final note, I would also like to say probably Sincerity, if they can get some more kills, if they can get a lot more active with their positioning, chase down their enemy team, actively make that communication work in their favor, basically. Yeah.
How do you feel about this? Because, of course, over the last few weeks, we have seen things solidify a little bit in terms of who is where and how these squads are matching up. These bottom squads, right? Some of the teams that he's mentioned now, we have expected a lot from. Your Fears, your Sincerities, even a Delta to a lesser extent, or a Team EFX. Is there any squad you see today being able to make a big splash? Potentially maybe a Trinity Gaming who's like on the cusp. Do you think they might have like a little bit in the tank, just enough to push them over the line tonight?
I mean, I can't be too sure. But the team I'm really surprised to see them in, that bottom half of the entire table is, teams like Sincerity, EFX. Those are the guys that I'm looking at and saying, you know what, they've been here for quite so long. I'm surprised that they're not grinding all the way into the finals. Suli and his boys have that massive experience. Same thing with Rogue Baby and her team. So those are the guys I'm thinking might provide a surprise here, might be able to provide that comeback.
I mean, we saw in the league portion of things before we entered the semifinals that several of the squads that are here and then several squads that are at the very top. Slime 4KT, frankly, were terrible before we get into this. Team Unique was very inconsistent. Blackjack Esports and Team Apex and BBC Chaos Kings were the only ones that I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe even a Solo Esports. They were okay, but for pretty much everybody else, it was an up and down struggle to get yourself into this point of the competition. And of course, the struggles have yet to subside, have yet to conclude. We still have more gameplay to go as we are about to enter this first map of Erangel for the evening. Very quickly, gentlemen, Viper, I'm going to ask you winning squad and how many kills from them? Rila.
Okay, so
Right. So Viper says Rila 12 kills. Akfire, how do you feel? Who's gonna get it and how many kills?
I think I'm going to give it to okay, EFX 10 kills.
Ooh, okay. I like that prediction. I'm giving a little bit of love towards one of these underdog squads and hoping that they can be the ones to try and push forward here because they need to do that pushing forward. Otherwise, they'll be left out of the finals weekend. Let us find out if any of these squads will be able to make that gargantuan leap or if it's just going to be the top squads still continuing to dominate the lobby. This is Group B and C. This is Erangel. This is week 9, day number 1, one of the lost opportunities. And of course, yet again, we have Akfire and Viper. Gentlemen, take it away and I'll talk to you afterwards.
All right,
Okay.
what an amazing day, Viper. We're about to start another round right here where it's all of these teams and we're trying as much as possible to gather as much points as they can, especially the guys who are sitting in that bottom half right there, Viper. So, I know you've already, mentioned your team and, but that is for the host, right? We have this tradition where we usually place out a cost on, several different guys. So who are you going to give your caster cost to?
Well, at this point, it's really, really difficult to put a caster course right now because these teams are like they are trying to break all the boundaries and whatnot. But basically, I'll look towards maybe the guys from Team Unique and give them a little bit of that's the sprinkle of the course right there.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, Team Unique. Mine is going to be going to. So remember, guys who are watching, this is also a caster cost and a blessing. Most of the guys who giving my caster cost have ended up in second, except one time yesterday when I gave it to Active Gaming, and they went out first. So this time around, I'm going to give mine to Zero Tolerance. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out for them.
Interesting. So you are currently giving it to zero tolerance skills, and I bet that's going to be tough on them a little bit though, because they want to make sure they give their best right now because any mistakes could be really really deadly to them. Because I think they're standing like 11th on the table or something. But yes, yes, yes. Look at this first circle, though, man. It's a really really crazy one.
Yeah, absolutely
Especially
crazy.
exactly, especially looking towards Rozok, look at the number of players and teams just crowding around that area.
All right, we're already seeing some action going down there between the boys from Zero Tolerance and EFX, two clans that we have already spoken about here. We're talking about the boys from EFX needing to get themselves, some good points right here, and it does look like the boys from Zero Tolerance are already starting to get into that vibe right here and getting themselves one kill. So that is definitely not the plan for EFX Viper. Obviously, they will be, trying as much as possible to keep themselves in the game as long as they can and get those kills. Maybe the prediction of them getting 10 kills will still, come to pass. But my goodness, the boys from Zero Tolerance at least getting themselves that 1 point at least. And man, Viper, at this point in time, every single point counts.
Every single point counts, man. We are in the last days. By Kane, we are in the last days, brother. You snooze, you lose. Every single point you miss is going to impact your overall positioning very, very, very hugely right there. But yeah, it's still the early games. We've gone about 4 minutes into the game right now, and every single team has probably got it on their mind. At least the teams that are in the bottom half right there, I've got it on their mind. Like, yo, we cannot afford any mess ups. We cannot afford any mistakes right there. And maybe to the extent that a lot of them would actually even be, a bit nervous and try to find a way to just play it slow and play it calm. But I would say to every of those team out there right now, this is his time to get confident. This is his time to bring out your gameplay. This is his time to execute those strats you've been working on and make sure you get yourself into that finals right there.
All right, so we're already seeing Raptors get into the fight right as they do get a knock. Raptors is currently one of those teams, who do need to continue to grab themselves those points because they're currently sitting as gatekeepers. They are in the 15th position, sitting down with 74 points coming into this particular game. And the thing about them sitting down the seventh, in that spot, there are two teams, especially Trinity and Team Lag, that are currently in 17 and 18 spots with 70 points. Now, those guys are the guys that, Raptors, Sidemen, Aatrox, Desert Flame, and even Real Insider and Zero Tolerance have to worry about, because those guys are just about, all the way from 17th to 18th, they're separated by just 13 points, right? So
Yeah, it's
a
really
very
close.
average game. Yeah, a very average game for Trinity could change things out. So Raptors has got to continue to, be able to grab those points right. And you already see them being able to get into those fights as they have been able to get a knock. But they'll be looking to continue to make that push and take on, several different players right there. I like the way their body language is, Viper. They're shaped up like, a team that wants to go on their attack and, keep on, getting those kill points.
Yeah, yeah, I see what they did there, but at the same time, I can notice that they are also a team that don't want to get out of this particular game earlier than expected, because you could see they noticed a sandwich kind of situation about to happen to them, and they were like, "Oh no, we're out of this one," getting in their vehicles and making a move away. I would say quite a smart decision to an extent. They've gotten a kill point out of that one. Always know your fights and know when to pull around. I can see them wrapping around and hoping to see if they can catch a team out in the open, also scoping out a couple of buildings. This is the part where it works out if you just get your positioning right early games and just make your moves and read the situation, know when to go for the attack, know when to drop back, then possibly might work out for you at the end. So I'll keep an eye out for Raptors Esports, I must say, because I do see them making a really, really nice moves around the map right now. And if they keep this up to the end game, then definitely we might be seeing them, keeping up their position right there in the top slot.
Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely stuff right there. We'll keep an eye on them and see if they're able to continue to grab those points that are very needed, because we do know that Trinity and Team Lag are on their trail, and Lag is one of those teams, Viper, that they are that team that you expect to be in the finals. For me, I don't know about Trinity, but I do think that Lag is going to qualify. I don't see them. I don't see them not making it. They're one of those teams that they do have the ability to be one of the top teams. They just fall off sometimes. But I definitely feel like I'm going to see them there. But right now we do have some action coming down between Zero Tolerance and the boys from Sidemen who are currently in a very sticky situation as well. They do need to make sure that they continue to grab some points. Also, they are currently in that 16th spot, but they're coming up against the boys from Zero Tolerance, taking down a couple of players right there. You do see Vortex, really doing the damage as he's taking down at least two players from Sidemen and is making that push, trying as much as possible to see if he can get that knock. But he's got to be careful because the rest of his teammates are currently not situated with him in that region. There's also BJE who is looking to come in with a third party. As you can see, Zane sending in those shots right there. But Viper, what were you doing in this situation? Would you go in, to get the kill? Oh my goodness!
What the hell?
Viper,
Ow!
what?
Vortex, man, this man is sending some Vortex of 5.56, but look at that. Phoenix already on the flank. This might be a really delicate one, but Vortex already sniffed. He sniffed him out already and is looking to make sure Oh, this is some amazing gameplay right there from ZTX. Paradox already dead, but now BJ is feeling the heat right there. I think BJ is down to just one player as Votex finds. Oh, nice. Phoenix finds Votex right now. He's going to drop him. And on this side, they have traded Nox. They've got 4 kills already. Just 9 minutes into this game. And you can see Lord is going to be going in for that confirmation really quickly. But yeah, we've got. Oh, I see BJ trying to come in to help right there. But that's going to be MG coming in. And that is just a really nice engagement I just saw right now. Maybe ZTS lost track of things a little bit, but BJ came in really quickly with that third party. Although they lost two along the line with just two players up, with just two kill points right there, and ZTS, I don't know, but Tony, that shot from Vortex was absolutely amazing.
Man, that shot obviously was a nightmare for Zayn as he just took him down instantly. I didn't think he was gonna get that shot, but my goodness, BJE, showing what an absolutely amazing team that they are. But zero tolerance, man. With that, man, that was really crazy. They're down to just one guy, so obviously he'll be going in for. Those placement points. Nefme is the last guy inside, man. BJE just coming in with that third party right there. Why Vortex was trying as much possible to doing those damage, and all these guys just showing what they're absolutely capable of. If it feels like every single time, like I watch the Umzansi, it's like even though we have a leaderboard that clearly shows like okay, one team is doing better than the next, it just feels like even when the number one team meets like number 20, it doesn't feel like there's any difference. When it comes to firepower.
Yeah, definitely. Getting up to this stage is definitely not beans because we've seen each one of these players out there. They've got that play style, they've got that gun skill, they've got the movement, they know how to flank, they know how to respond in tight situations. It's all boils down to how each of the IGLs make decision, how each of these teams make that synergy work together in different kind of situations, and at times a little bit of R&D from the game as well. So definitely you cannot automatically predict what the outcomes from each one of these fights will be because most of the teams and the players out there are equally matched skill wise, gun wise, and synergy wise.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're just taking a look at the Boston Raptors right there, as Mad Knights are currently on the trail, looking as much as possible to see if they can push onto that location where they are at the build, as they've already taken down one of the players. But now it does look like Shiva is trying as much as possible to hold the boys from Mad Knights back as he does take down Savage. And it's a very, very interesting situation that they're currently situated as. Raptors, one of those teams we spoke about during the beginning of this game as needing to continue to get themselves those points to move up on that leaderboard. Currently, all before the game, sitting down in that 15th position, Viper, and it'll be curious to see how they can hold things down. For themselves, but Mad Knights also sitting down in ninth position. Will continue to look to move themselves up. So it seems like every single team that is on that second page, Viper, needs to continue to grab those points to move up on that leaderboard because it's still not safe for them.
Yeah, it's definitely not safe for anybody on that second page because, well, I would understand if the guys on top of the second page actually just relax a little bit, even though it's not advisable. But every single person on that second page has got to be on their toe because you snooze, you lose. Every single mistake might count against you in the long run. You want to try and finish strong. You want to make sure there is no doubt about you getting into the finals. You've worked so hard, you've come this far, and then you need to make sure you finish the job. But as that is happening, we can see EFX already trying to get themselves out of the final page they've got themselves into, and it's going to be against your killer ace. So why are these teams doing this to themselves? Like both
Oof.
teams literally need to get out of that last page, and they are out here fighting themselves.
Man, the boys from EFX also, as we spoke about at the beginning of this game, in a very sticky situation. They do need a miracle as they were just down to only 49 points coming into this particular game. You can already see, two of the players just leaving that location. And Mercury does look like he wants to, hop into the vehicle and leave as well. Just rotate out of that one. Remember, they had lost one player during the beginning of this particular game, and they will be trying as much as possible to make sure that they get those placement points. And oh, look at that! Mercury gets taken down as he's shot up right there by the boys from Your Killer is and Hasbro getting that knock right
Ooh.
there, trying as much as possible to get those points. But Viper, man, this guy's being absolutely crazy going in, for that player who just wanted to stay alive.
Yeah, but that beaming got beamed straight out of his vehicle trying to rotate out of that position. But quite unfortunately, your killer is going to be the victor in that little one on one engagement right there. And we've got Mad Knight trying to use the beach front right there, just trying to rotate around there, trying to make their way into the next possible good position right there. But underrated esports is just watching as it all unfolds right now. The beast already getting a little bit closer, maybe close, even close enough to get a couple of nades in right there. This man's head has got to be on a swivel, that's clutch god, because any team can pull up right behind him and he's got to make sure he's on his toe. But Blackjack Esports already out of that one, not a good one for them, but I believe they would be okay at the end of the day. The beast is going to be the ones on the front lines right now, looking to see if he can get any grenade knocks as it stands, sending a couple of akara on you. That is the grenades right there to a Spyros, trying to see if he could get a cheeky knock and push up, make that opening for his team right there. But Mad Knights, connecting a couple of shots. This is what I like about Mad Knights. They're actually quite confident, but at see stands we might see Trinity just coming right on their flank. This might be a really delicate one for them too.
Yeah, it's a very delicate one as we're just waiting to see who gets that first knock, either through, the shots or a nade right there. It's actually, the boys from Mad Knights who need to win this fight. Underrated are in a position in that first page where, if they do get taken out, it doesn't really mean anything. If they don't really perform well today, the worst case scenario is that they move into that second page, but they might still, be able to make it all the way into that finals. But the boys from Mad Knights have got to continue to show, what they're capable of. They gave us some great performances, in the previous stage. So they will be looking to find themselves all the way into that final. So you can see you're trying as much as possible to be cautious. They're not being overly aggressive in this push onto the boys from Underrated Esports, who are positioned quite well to seal this game through. But right there, you do see that the boys from Zero Tolerance have been eliminated
Oof.
and taken out of the game. Another team that we
Oof.
were, talking about earlier on as needing to continue to climb themselves up on that leaderboard. We'll see how the game continues to fare. And right now, we're tuned in to the boys from Team Lag.
Yeah, Team Lag rooting for you guys right now as well, because I believe they are like on the third page in that 18 spots. This is the time for them to put in the work, climb, climb, climb. But in Zimbi and oh no, Tony, in Zimbi is out. No, no, in Zimbi. I was also, low key. I was actually hoping in Zimbi will be able to pull off something right here. But quite unfortunately, they still have 3 more games today to actually put in the work right there. But Mad Knight is going to come towards Raptor as we can see exchange of guns. We can see exchange of bullets left, right, and center. Knocks going out, some confirmations as well from Mars. Is going to be taking it quite slowly with seeing Serity off in the distance. This is a triage of fight just waiting to happen. We can see Team Lag in the background also looking to push up into this position. Oh man, this is a really interesting spot to look at right now because you can't make a decision to rotate out of here. There is multiple barriers just looking for
Yeah.
any movement, any iota of any sliver of movement out here, and the shots are going to be raining down. But this is some next level 1v1 next level fire right there as Desire and the player from Mars are going on with the dance right there, but that is going to be Turbo getting the win on that one, and Rogue Baby is going to be forced out of that position with the oh
Ooh.
man, the African scene and grenades, bro.
Ooh. My
Yeah.
my goodness, my goodness. Sincerity needed to take on this fight because they do need to perform today. They do need to continue to rack out those points. But we do see the third party shots coming in right there as Lag is beginning to
Oh
take on a
no,
couple of players right
double.
there. But Muffin as well getting a knock onto the players right there for Mars. And this is where Muffin needs to make that push. It does look like the boys from Insiders might also be lurking around this region as well. But Muffin has got to take that decision right now as 2 players from Mars are currently knocked down. And it does look like Muffin has an idea to take or to get back Rogue Baby into this game as Rogue Baby is currently just trying as much as possible to retreat onto this particular location.
Oh
So it
no,
does look like they may
EFX on
be
the
able
flank.
to You know, ooh, look at that, look at that. There's some shots coming right there from unknown. There's also Nefmi who's in that zone trying to send out some shots onto that region right there. It's a very tough one for Sincerity right here, because where the currently sitting down on that leaderboard, they've only gotten about 30 something points coming into this particular game. They've gotten no kill, you know, but
Oof.
oh my goodness, my goodness, a really, really, really tough one for Sincerity. For them to qualify, they've got to find a way within the next game to, you know, maybe drop a 30 bomb, you know, and move themselves way up on that leaderboard. It's a very tough one for them, but if they can get one or two great games, they might still be able, you know, to come back in this one right here. But man, really, really tough one.
Yeah, I see the setup right now coming from Insider, trying to make the push up onto From Mars, and that's going to be From Mars getting it up hard right there by Rila Insider. See what I'm talking about, Rila Insider, with 8 kills right now, looking to prove me right today. Are we going to be able to get them up to that 12th position? We've got 9 teams left up alive, and they still got a full squad up. Hopefully, I just did not place that curse on them right now. Team Lag is going to be focusing right on them. They've got 7 kills to their name, but right now they've got a couple of teams to deal with. Mad Knight right there to their left right there, and we've got a really nice setup coming out right now. Not much cover to work with. We can see a couple of vehicles driving in right there just for the extra hard cover, and Mad Knight with that sweet setup. They've got quite a spread out, looking to pin any team that comes around them, but that is going to be a nice connection of headshots from Kakao onto Tyson. We might be seeing one of the Mad Knights pushing up to get the revive in that position as Rila Insider continues the onslaught, the grenades in hand, looking to get a couple of connections, but Coco getting spotted off on the distance, getting tagged up a bit right there, but he's still going to be on in this particular game. This is turning out to be an amazing time.
Oh, the boys from inside is trying as much as possible to get those knocks right there, trying to take on the boys from Lag, you know, who are fighting tooth and nail to battle themselves away from that position. But Insider is proving to be a ton in their flesh as Fantasy and 1-9 are trying as much as possible to evade the shots that are coming in. They're trying to keep themselves in this game. Remember, they've got themselves 8 kills so far. It's not enough points to keep them in, you know, to boost them up onto, you know, maybe that first page. But if they can somehow get that winner chicken dinner in this particular game and a couple of kills, they might be able to boost themselves way up, even beyond the second page into the first page. And that's exactly what they need right now. They need to continue, you know, to make sure that they keep themselves within this game. But Rina Insider is proven to be a thorn in their side right now, as they've got 3 players right here. They still left me from Sidemen who is still in this game. Just a one player right there, and I'll be curious to see, you know, how long, you know, he can last in this game, as the zone is already beginning to shift, you know, towards that 6th zone. And it's a very crazy time for all of these guys. You know, the boys from Relay Insider have got one player who's currently down, and Viper, it's a very, very tough one for a lot of these teams, as you know, Lag now has got to rotate into that zone and that region where Mad Knights are currently situated. They definitely have got to get into a fight with Relay Insider, and it's going to be so tough for Lag. But I want to see them, you know, I want to see the underdogs Lag, you know, get those points and move up.
Yeah, definitely. It would be really nice to see them keep moving up and getting up on. But Nefmi right now is giving me a lot of anxiety, because look at his positioning. If he jumps up, he probably would be able to change the tides of this fight right there between Insider. Although they've changed that pretty much on their own at sending in the grenades, gotten a knock, but that is going to be a trade real quick. Nefmi looking up that corner, just healing up right there. Zeke is going to push up forward, try to distract the enemy, try to give some cover fire, try to hope and get some other knocks, but we can see more shots is going to be ringing into us Insider's position. Oh, this is a really tough fight. Team Lag holding their own, keeping it together. The grenades are just coming in non-ending. This might be they want to connect onto Zeke, and will it be a Kobe right there? Not yet. This is really what you love to see. Team Lag with 8 kills, Insiders right there with 8 kills, quite level skill right now. Both teams looking to go at it really hard. Oh, the grenades connecting. This might be what they need to make that push up, but Insider just coming in ratata. But Kakao is going to stop him in his tracks with that SMG in hand. This is an amazing time right now. this
Ooh,
is winner
lag
inside and
fighting
out.
so hard in that particular position. You could see how you could literally feel the struggle. Like it was more. It meant absolutely
Yeah.
everything to both them and Sidemen. You could see how both teams were just trying as much as possible to get those points. Sorry, I mean Real Insider. Both teams are just trying as much as possible to get those points right there. But now moving in, we do have 6 teams right here within the zone, and it's great stuff about to go down as the boys from Mad Knights are currently holding a good position within that zone. They've got some cover. They've got underrated spots not too far away from them. They got a player from Your Killer is as well, and he has gotten a knock right there onto one of the players from underrated spots, and it's all down to tiny margins. But like Esports 1-9 is putting in the damage. They've got a bit of that zone as well, so they've got no worries for now. They've got a couple of players around them, man. But my goodness, it is some crazy time. And look at this Viper. Look at the decision that they're taking. They're about to use. They're about to get into that center. They've seen a couple of players. Mad Knights is in some trouble as they're down to just the last player, Savage. And if Mad Knights goes out right now, I do believe that Lag has won this. The only team that stands in their way when it comes to numbers right now is Mad Knights. If they can take out Savage, then they can seal this game. Yeah, Mad Knight is still in this game. Remember, I did speak about them taking out Savage, right there and sealing the game through. But now we're down to the last teams right here. We got Lag, we got Mad Knights, and as well we got Zeal and his boys, and we'll be looking to see who actually does seal this game through. You do see that the boys from Lag are just putting in the work right here. They've got themselves a 3-man squad coming up against 2 players from Mad Knights, and we've seen sometimes 2 players being able to take down a full squad, so it's definitely not a done deal. But the boys from Lag sitting down with 14 kills right here in this one might be able to get a 30 bomb right here to boost themselves up, not just from that third page all the way into that first page with this amount of points. And we're curious to see who actually does win this one. Can Ammo Win and Savage fight their way into grabbing those points and taking on the winner chicken dinner from the team Lag, or will Fantasy and his boys finally win this one? You can see Fantasy Viper trying to sneak in from the side, and will that be the difference?
Yeah, I must say right now this is a really difficult one to predict because we've got a situation of 2v3, the numbers being on the team lags side right there, and they have that even spread real quick, but I don't think they have that much of grenades and Molotov to work with, else it would have been a pretty easy one for them to close. But as it stands right now, I love the splits coming in from team lag as they are looking for the angles, looking to pull Mad Knights to a single side and rain the bulletin from different directions. But not much for Mad Knight to actually work with. The next zone popping out is actually going to determine a lot of how this is going to play real quick. But Team Lag is looking to be on the stronger side right now. You can see Team Lag, Mad Knights playing it really carefully right there. The difference between that first place and second place, the 2-3 points, that is going to be that difference. The 4 points that is going to be that difference. They want each of these team wants to make sure that they are the ones that have it. But we can see Mad Knights taking the first move, driving around. That's going to be a more win right behind, trying to give some cover fire. But this is going to be a tough one because there are 3 different barrels pointing right towards them. They have got to fight about. And check it out, Ammo when is trying really hard to give that cover fire. How is Savage still up alive right now? This is a tough one. Mad Knight is out in the open. They are trying to put it together. How is this gonna go? We need to see some smokes. I think they're all out of smokes right now. Savage, Ammo win in the hot seat right now, going against the three boys right there from Team Lag. How is this gonna go? Cacao, One Night Fantasy looking frantically to make sure they get the dub on this one. You gotta win this one. You got the numbers. The scenario of the avenue has given that win right there to Lag Esports.
Ooh, and Lag Esports taking home that particular game. My goodness, with 16 kills, getting 31 points at the end of the day with 3,000 damage played by.
Phew, bruh. Hey, 31 points. Well, I must say they deserved it. From that 18 position they had, they are definitely going to be flying up really, really to that second page.
Absolutely. They have now flown up. 31 points is going to be a massive return for the side of Team Lag here. They've gotten themselves from the 70 points that they had beforehand. And I hate to contradict you boys, but this performance from Team Lag has actually gotten them into page number one because of how good they've looked here today. Woo! Excellent performance coming out from Team Lag. But the important thing about this, Viper, and why I think that Team Lag were able to push as far forward as they were able to, even in a very tense situation at the very end of the game, you mentioned it yourself. They had the numerical advantage, lacked the utility to take advantage of that situation, but still found themselves winning out the match. And the reason why, in my opinion, is because of all the squads left in the final three, they needed this one the absolute most. If they didn't get this W, Viper, suddenly Team Lag is looking at the rest of the evening, pretty much just trying to play catch up, trying to claw their way back into a position where they could reasonably challenge for the top 16. But now, because they popped off like this, not just popping off, you weren't here last week, sir, but Axfire will remember. There's only one squad that broached the 30-point mark last week, and that's how Team Lag starts the day. That's certainly going to give them a lot of momentum going into the rest of the day, but I'm imagining that they must feel a lot more safe going into the finals weekend.
Yeah, definitely feel a lot more safe. That was exemplary performance, I must say, because looking at what they brought in that particular last part was just absolutely beautiful. Being able to keep up three teammates up alive in that deadly circle. They had so many teams to actually contend with. I was watching the team, the number of teams left in that zone 5, zone 6, and I must say, usually in this zone 5, zone 6, team numbers drop really, really quickly, but we was talk about 8 teams for a really, really long time, and shots were going off. They were able to manage and keep themselves up to that level. Then I must really say this is a well-deserved win for them, and I'm looking forward to hopefully see them in the final. They need to bring more to make sure they stay in that position they've got themselves into.
For me, I find one of the more entertaining and much more impressive things that we did see happening in this particular matchup was the discipline being displayed by Team Lag and Mad Knights once they got into that final zone. 2 squads, only 5 players between them. Usually, up until every prior week before today, would have seen that turn into an incredible scramble. Utils be damned. We're going in, we're playing Call of Duty at that point. But today, you are seeing that everyone is realizing that, wait, this is like the last day. Damn it. If we don't do well today, we don't have any other opportunities. So some of these squads here obviously leveled up a lot. As we look at our MVP here for this particular map, I want you to talk to us about what the change in strategy is required going into these last couple of days, especially if you're a team like Team Lag who hasn't been doing well up until this point.
Yeah, I think you could just see the amazing brilliance from their team. Obviously, they were working together as a team. They were being absolutely smart. Their IGL was putting in the work. You did see when Fantasy, went all the way towards a flank position, but he was disciplined not to make that push and not to get knocked down. Right? He kept himself alive in the game for as long as possible, to remain an option. But he wasn't making that push like he could have. A lot of players would be like, what, I've got a flank position, I can probably take down one player, but you might get knocked down and put your team at a disadvantage, and all of a sudden it's a 2v2 situation. And what looked like a clear win is now a 50-50 situation. So yeah, we saw them be absolutely patient, know that they had the zone, know that all they had to do was just wait it out, and eventually the boys from Mad Knights will show themselves and they can take them out.
Speaking of exactly how calculated the strategy was, there was a moment where Fantasy was doing some fishing in the pond because the zone was being dragged over the ocean. So he saw some swimming teams and he's like, let me get some easy knocks. But then he realized, wait a second, I don't actually need these knocks. What we need is a team victory, and we need as many players as humanly possible going into that final zone. So he let off on the aggression into the water at the very least to save that aggression for later in the zone. Impeccable play coming in general from the side of Team Lag. They deserve to win the WWCD. Absolutely deserves to get the MVP reward for this one with 7 eliminations here, 4-1-9. Of course, this will mean that they are going to be rewarded by some entertaining points. They're going to be rewarded in general for this performance that they've been able to bring forth here today. One thing that I'm very curious about here, Viper, this 27 minutes, 15 seconds, this has been one of the longer matchups that we've seen on Erangel thus far. Do you think this is going to continue into Erangel Part 2 as well?
Definitely. I'm looking forward to see me probably even nearing that 28 minutes mark, because you could see how this ended. They were Both teams were both patient into that very last moment, just waiting to spot a mistake from the other team right there and waiting to clutch that number one WWCD position, which is what almost every single team that is getting into that final zone has got on their mind. They are not going to be reckless about anything along the line.
Well, now that we are going to be looking at what the reward is going to be coming out of this particular matchup. So here we do have the side of a Team Lag, of course, at the very, very top with the WWCD, 31 points claimed for themselves. The gap between themselves and positions 2 and 3 is incredible. Mad Knight's got 15 points, YKLA's got 14, but my God, 16 eliminations from Team Lag. To give this context here, Actfire, look at this. You have to combine other squads together. You either have to combine YKI and Rilla Insider to get to the same mark, or you literally have to combine everybody else on the top first page to get the same amount of eliminations as Team Lag does. What the hell did they eat today? Where was this level up, firstly? But secondly, why were they not able to put forth these kind of performances in the competition coming up until this point?
Sometimes it just happens. It just is what it is. You probably need a wake up call to to remind you of what you got stored in, and that's probably exactly what they needed. They probably needed to be in that bottom half to realize, hey, you know what, we may not qualify. We got to sit up. We got to work as a team. We got to play better, because the difference between being that winning team and being the team that goes out early on might just be down to maybe just one or two tiny mistakes. So just cutting those things out, cutting out those bravado moments, those moments where you're trying to just be like some Rambo who goes out to, take on 1-2 players, and then gets yourself knocked down. Cutting out situations like that may just get you to move with your full team into that final circle. And if you can get 3 or 4 players into that final circle, you give yourself, a lot of chances to continue to get kills while people are rotating, and then also to finish in that top 5. And that's exactly what they did there.
Absolutely. Viper, what do you make of this now that you're looking at those top 8, right? Because one thing I notice immediately, I see Team Lag, I see Your Killer Is, I see Trinity, I see Team EFX. Basically, I see teams that were in the bottom 8 beforehand now suddenly finding themselves doing very, very well in the opening matchup of the day. Of course, we've discussed a little bit about how these squads absolutely need this kind of performance. They don't have the latitude to rest and chill on their laurels. But what do you think this is going to do to the competitive spirit of other squads? Because I can imagine a team, let's say like underrated esports, maybe not them too much, but some of the squads that were on page 2 starting now to think to themselves, wait a second, we actually don't have the same safety net that we thought we had coming into this particular day of competition. Do you think that the performances of those squads is going to galvanize squads like the Raptor Esports, squads like the side of Sidemen, basically these teams that are sitting just on the cusp of in the top 16? Is it going to change how they approach, especially Sanhok and Miramar, given the performance we've seen today of some of the other squads here on Erangel?
Yeah, definitely it would affect that, because look at a team like Raptors, look at a team like Sidemen just sitting on that edge 15th, 16th position. Right there, they have got their work cut out for them right now, because majority of the teams right below them have found a way to, just leap straight in front of them. So moving forward into the next games, they would definitely play a lot more cautiously and possibly look to get their own winner chicken dinners at least bring in a game that is really, really going to change the tides of the leaderboard right there for them. Because if they don't, then this might just be an opportunity lost for them.
Yeah, it's a very scary situation to be in right now if you are these squads that aren't in the top 16, because it's especially depressing if you're one of these teams that has been very consistent throughout the league. You earned your spot in the TWAS 24, then you were consistent in the first several weeks of the semifinals, earning your place in the top 16, but then after today, everything can just change on the beat of a hat. And of course, let us see exactly what these changes are going to look like after Erangel Part 1, how this reflects in the overall leaderboard. Let us all remember, we're all not just playing to get as many points on the board. It's all about just staying in the top 16. The real money comes in the next phase of the competition. Right now, it's just about ensuring that you can get there. For points, eliminations, placements be damned. How you get there doesn't really matter. Of course, Slime 4KT has done enough in prior weeks that even though they haven't played their next game, which they'll only be doing tomorrow, they still occupy this #1 spot in the leaderboard. Team Unique and Blackjack Esports have also done enough in prior weeks where some tepid / mediocre performances today is not going to necessarily change their outcome. They're still sitting in the top 3. But the very interesting changes that are happening here at Fire, Mad Knights, Team Lag, they're on the up. Chaos Kings a little bit sliding down. And given the performance we saw from both Mad Knights and Team Lag, what do you think? Will be willing to put down money that by the time this evening is over, they'll probably be occupying positions 4 and 5, not just 6 and 7 as they do right now.
It's very curious to see that the boys from Team Lag can act and Mad Knights can actually move all the way, from being in second and third page, even into that position where Slime 4KT is currently situated at. The difference between Team Lag and Slime 4KT is just 36 points. If they can gather within the next 3 games about 30 something points, they can actually move into that first spot.
I mean, they just need one okay map, getting 5 points, and then another performance on a Erangel Part 2, just like this one, and they'll guarantee themselves that first spot. So can certainly see them being able to pull out that kind of performance. Here on page 2, of course, we do see some of the other squads in contention this evening. Underrated Esports has slidden down the pecking order just a little bit, as Rila Insider is on the climb up. They were 12th place before this started. Now they are sitting very pretty on this 10th. The teams, though, that are not very happy about what's happened here, Viper. You might be happy if you're a fan of Trinity Gaming. You are not excited at all if you're a fan of Raptor Esports, Desert Flame Esports. Raptor in particular, they're playing tonight. Trinity has just leapfrogged them. And given the fact that for the last 8 weeks of competition, Raptor were a clearly better team than Trinity, is this going to be rattling their confidence going into these last 3 maps of the evening?
Yeah, definitely going to be a rattling one, because if you look at it, Trinity Gaming has got just 9 games and Raptor has got 13 games. So definitely that is a huge message to show how they're actually performing overall as well. And I also want to quickly point out that Team Lag also has got 9 games and they are right now just 36 points away from that #1 right there. They still have about 3 more games to actually catch up, which means they're actually not doing too bad.
Certainly not doing too badly, and they have a lot of room to try and improve, a lot of room to get to the very top, and they have earned themselves a breathing room as well to be able to do so. Teams that still need to work hard, though, Team EFX and Zimbi, your killer is here on page number 3. The teams that are currently in danger of being relegated completely out of the next phase of the competition. Fire, before we go to a short break here, we need to talk about one thing, and we're going to talk about it just after we come back, right? We need to talk about the fact that, as Viper was mentioning, some of these squads have fewer games than the others, and some of them will be finishing their games tomorrow. But what that does mean is that if you don't perform tonight, you will not have your fate in your own hands anymore, and you'll be pretty much just watching the world pass you by if anything should change in the leaderboard. Of course, these teams do need to make sure that they come back with the perfect performance. They need to calibrate their strategies, and that will require them to take a little bit of rest. So we're going to take a short break here, and when we return, we're going to be coming back with Sanhok, the second map of the evening. Week number 9, day number 1 is still heating up. We do not know what's going to happen, but we're going to be finding out together. Myself, Snare, Fire, and Viper. We'll see you in just a moment, and we'll see you now. Welcome back, one and all, here to season 5 of the Umzansi Esports League PUBG Mobile, week 9, day number 1. We are in the final week of the semifinals, and after this week, we will have the 16 teams that will be going on to compete in the grand finals weekend for that all-important $15,100 prize pool. My name is Snare. I'm joined yet again by Actfire and Viper. And gentlemen, we are about to get into Sanhok, which is obviously the most important and most enjoyable map generally that we do have here. Before we load up into this one, beforehand, I had a conversation about team predictions, right? Which team's going to win, how many eliminations, because Erangel is mostly about teams. Sanhok is about individuals. So Actfire, who's popping off on this one? Which squad are we looking for to have that standout performer on their team? And how many kills do you think they'll get before we get into the game?
I think maybe 12 kills. I'm gonna give it to Sidemen. I feel like they need, they need this one. They need to move up. I feel like they have the players, Nefmi and his boys. So yeah, I'll give it to them. I'll say 12 kills. Sidemen.
12 kills for the Sidemen. All right, we'll see who's going to be the MVP from that particular squad, or if we're going to be having anybody else step up. Personally, for me, I'm always going to be relying on either Mad. I think Mad Mads on Sanhok has proven to be a very reliable bet. So let's figure out whose bet is going to be correct as we go into the second map of the evening. It's Sanhok, it's Groups B and C, it's Actfire and Viper. Gentlemen, take it away.
Man, oh man. I don't know though, but looking at what I've seen earlier today, I actually have my eyes on Mastobor, the player Mastobor. I feel like he's going to show a bit of his gun skills right out here in Sanhok and possibly dazzle us a little bit. Maybe even get to the extent of getting that MVP for today. But yeah, what do you think is going to happen right now in Sanhok? Are we going to be seeing that early fight right now?
Yeah, I think we might see one or two early fights. We do see the boys from Lag as well as Raptors. I do believe landing within the same region, so definitely we're going to see some early fights right there. Also, right there in boot camp, we do have the boys from Mars and Zero Tolerance, so we might be seeing two fights going down within those regions as well as the boys from Your Killer is, and I'm not sure what squad exactly they are with right there, but they're somewhere around Quarry, and we might be seeing something going down in that region as well. So it'd be curious to see how it actually does play out for several of these teams, as we do see like esports already beginning to take on some fights with the boys from Raptors, as they have taken down and lobbied one of their players right there, and Zambi will be looking to hold things down against Fantasy and the boys who did finish win that
Wow.
previous game right there, and they're already continuing this one as they get another knock right there, Viper.
Wow. Look at what they did right now, sending one night up that hill there. Situational awareness, the use of the scenario, the environment is just beautiful. It's just 100% right there from Team Lag. You could see them just making use of every single situation and positioning to their advantage right there, already getting up the knocks, getting the kill points right there. But now the next fight is going to be happening right over in bootcamp, as we got from Massacling hovering right around. And they're just trying to see if they could get some shots in be the team to look at right there. And boy, oh boy, this is gonna be an hectic one. As I've said something about Turbo earlier on, and will he be able to live up to the hype I just gave him? I hope it wasn't a cost though.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Zero tournaments as well, looking to, perform quite well. In that previous game, Vortex showed us some amazing sprays, and I'll be curious to see if he actually does live to that. On the kill for right there, we do see underrated coming up against the boys from Your Killer Is, and it looks like, they've taken down two players from Your Killer Is, but Hasbot is fighting back and as well has knocked two players on the other side. It is going absolutely crazy between those two teams, and Clutch God is also trying as much as possible to put in a defense for his team right there. So crazy stuff right there happening on that kill field while we're watching the boys from Mars, absolutely waiting for that one opportunity against Zero Tolerance. And there's also Unique coming into the mix right here, coming into the picture, Viper, right here in boot camp, and we might be seeing a three-way fight.
Oh yes, so I think it's just one of Unique that is here to rename. So pretty much it's just Unique
Oh,
and
okay,
from
okay.
Mass. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
was I was
okay,
a bit
okay, okay.
confused out there a
Yeah, yeah,
little bit
I
as
was confused. I
well.
was confused. Okay, unique. But yeah, okay, yeah. It's just a zero tolerance player who has probably not renamed.
Yeah. So basically, that is going to be an engagement we'd love to see. But your killer is just getting slapped out of this particular position right now by the guys from Underrated Esports. Underrated Esports coming out on top on this one real quick. We are down to just 14 teams in this particular lobby. 4 minutes in, still on zone one. And I love the fact that Team Unique is actually keeping a tight knit right there, not spreading out too much. But from Mars right now is playing that coverage game, just holding every single angle, trying to make sure if Team Unique decides to make a rotation out of this one, they would be caught out in the open. But could actually be a dangerous play as well. But most times it ends up working well. But I do see Turbo. Oh, look at that, man. They are just clumping around, hoping to spot anybody. They are overloading on every single angle they can get.
Yeah, Viper. I see the way they're moving. They're moving together, looking to see if they can take out at least one player from, this team Mars. And they've got to be really careful. Tobo's got to be really careful because he does decide to peek out of that window. He's going to be having like four players pointing his direction. So they got to be careful, on how they actually push. This may actually be a blessing for Zebra tournaments, or it may actually be a problem because one nade into their position could actually take down multiple players, who are pushing, together. So it does look like they've left one player in that particular building, Hansley, to, sort of like, have that distance. But you can see Z God's waiting as well as
Ooh.
Tobo, and that nade already beginning to let loose right there, towards their position. And Tobo, has been done some damage as he tried to take on some shots right there onto that position where Hansley is currently situated. But my goodness, what a tough one for these two teams right here. The heels are already beginning to let loose, and Mars has got to still be careful. Z God has got to be careful because he's now alone in that particular position, and I know he's trying to keep them at bay, but any tiny little mistake, and he could have a whole bunch of players, just taking shots at his particular position. But look at what Unknown is doing, Viper, as he's going all the way into, that building, and maybe that might work out for
Ooh.
him.
Nice crossfire right there from Aimless. Aimless with the side, but Z-God is going to spot him. Don't get greedy on that one. He was about to get greedy, trying to go in for that complete shot right there. They've gotten a knock and they're actually looking to confirm it. Oh, Team Unique is in a lot of trouble right now. But no, they've actually equalized the knocks right there. It's going to be one knock on both sides right now. Turbo wrapping around, trying to get the jump right there onto Team Unique, but this is a 1v1. Aimless going for the jump shots real quick. Now that is going to be an hectic situation from Masses down to just a couple of players still up right there. Team Unique just down to Cage. Cage pushing up right now. This is the point where he needs to get that revival, needs to get the hell out of here right there. This is an epic battle coming in, but from Mars is going to be jumping straight in. See God with the jump shot, and that might just be Team Unique going back into the lobby in Team 14. Yes, that's 14th position. Beautiful work right there from Mars. So yeah, man, my prediction might just come into,
Yeah, team Unique putting in the work right there. I actually thought that was zero tolerance for a while, but actually that was Team Unique putting in the work, and not being able to take away the boys from Mars. They moved together as a team. They were very compact. Viper, I do think that it was all down to just very very tiny margins. Individual gun skill, and just winning your one on one fights. At the end of the day, the boys from Mars came out on top on that particular one. So great stuff from them, from the boys from Mars, who, let me just see, where are they on the leaderboard? Do they need this? They were sitting down in 10th position before the day started, so they're not necessarily threatened, but they need to continue to accumulate those points to be able to move, and probably just maintain their spots to qualify into the next stage. But we got 13 players, 13 teams left right here, and taking a look at Sidemen, who I predicted possibly have that, you know, um, um, firepower to win this particular game. I'm curious to see if they actually do live up to it, as they might be getting into contact with Mars.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to, do some mental calculations on where Team Unique is actually standing right now, but because I know a lot of these teams that are coming from third page are trying really hard to push them their ways into that top 16, which is going to be really, really tough if Team Unique doesn't start living up to what they got to do, because they've got 12 matches already on ground and they need to make sure they make the remaining matches they've got count a lot. But right now we can see Sidemen just on top of the hill, perched right now, looking towards from Mars. Mars just finished a fight, just won a fight against Team Unique, and are hoping to see if they can catch them off guard right there. If Mars tries to make a rotation, they might be able to get one or two knocks off Mars right there with their position. But they've also got to keep their eyes open, as BJ might just be creeping up right behind them slowly but surely. But assistance right now, majority of the teams are just in their different positions trying to get the loot in. Kakao still out in the zone, possibly just getting those extra meds, extra first aid kits. If we might be seeing some healing strats later on today as well. Trinity Gaming far eastern of the map right now, just chilling up in the distance, not looking to engage any team as of right now. And majority of what is going to be happening in this particular game is going to be decided by that next zone shift. Are we going to be seeing a radical zone shift? It is what I would love to see as well. Oh no, not too radical. The zone shift in today's game, at least the Sanhok has been quite reasonable, I must say.
Yeah, very reasonable zone shift right there, maintaining, that central position with several different teams around Pineland Boot Camp, still situated within that zone. You still got the boys from Mars, holding a good position, as well as the boys from Sidemen and Super Tournaments all the way in Pineland right there. So we'll see how this one, continues to play out, especially for teams like Sincerity, who will be looking to get into that tough position. But Sincerity, this, I feel like Viper, this is the moment for Sincerity, right? They've had a
Yeah.
very tough time. We know that they're capable. Muffin, Rogue Baby, they've always, over in previous seasons, given us those top performances consistently. They at one time were one of those teams that people were looking at, to even maybe come into the finals and, grab, the title, but somehow things have not been quite easy for them this particular season, and you know for them to make it all the way, do you think it's over, or they can still somehow find a way to make it into the top 16?
Never say never. It's not over until it is finally over. Even with one match left to go, I believe there's still a chance. There's still hope if you just put your mind to it. But as it stands right now, they still have a couple of match left to just make their way around, and possibly they would be able to get themselves back into that top 16. But it's not looking too good right there. It's quite bleak for them. But I believe with some next level gameplay, with some dedication and focus, they might actually be able to push their way into that one. But as it stands right now, we can see Sidemen slowly and surely encroaching into this particular position, looking to get some shot into from Mars, but from Mars with their heads on a swivel, trying to just hold the ground right now in bootcamp, just scouts the area. Zigot not doing it too, he's not doing too much of a finicky work, just scouting the area, making sure he sees where the enemies might be coming from. So they might be getting jumped by BJE as of right now, but we'd love to see how this one is going to be turning out in a bit. This is one thing I always mostly see, especially when the zone is still around bootcamp. Most of the teams that land bootcamps don't go out of bootcamp early enough.
Crazy, 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 crazy stuff right there. Definitely, obviously, teams who land in boot camp, sort of like remain in that central position. They have the zone for quite a while, and they can just loot around. They can take on, several different teams around there. It's a very dangerous landing spot,
Yeah.
but if you're able to win that particular region, then you may just as well be in the zone for quite a while, and just take a look at several other teams around right there. So Mars has got to be really careful, because you have the balls of sidemen who are currently stuck in this position. Be curious to see how things do play out. Sanhok is one of those very interesting maps, right? It's a small map, but because of the way the terrain is currently, situated, we do have those moments where things can just sort of like be a bit calm, you know everyone's got a position where they're holding. You can see Hunter, just up on this hill, just has things a bit chill. But when we now start moving into that fourth zone, that's where things now begin to get really wild. That's when we start seeing all the third parties and several different moves like that. So be curious to see how this one actually does play out for several of these teams. The next zone is going to determine a lot of things, and that's when we'll start seeing things popping off.
Yeah, definitely next one is going to determine a lot of things. But right now, do I dare to actually make a prediction about where the next zone is going to pop? Are we going to possibly see a final circle landing on bootcamp? When was the last time you actually witnessed a bootcamp final circle, Tony?
Man, it's been a while, but that is always a very very violent and interesting final circle to watch. I would love to see it because it's one of the most interesting when because of the way boot camp is situated, right? You could actually
Yeah,
have like four
yeah,
teams around in around an inside boot camp because I remember like back in the day when I used to play scrims and it would end in boot camp a lot. It would actually end in boot camp a lot, and you could actually have like about four different teams. You could have a team outside of the warehouse. You can have two teams in the opposite warehouses inside boot camp,
bootcamp.
just
Yeah,
chilling there. You could have one team in the middle. Then you could have if I more than maybe 4 to 5 teams
yeah.
situated in
All
boot camp,
just
all just fighting it out. Yeah, so it's always a bloodbath.
yeah, so yeah, it will be interesting to see how this is going to be. But from Mars already extending a limb right up that hill as sincerity might just be waiting up there for them. We might be seeing that fight waiting to happen. But Mad Knight and Underrated Esports are going to be eating it up as Mad Knight is going to come out losing that particular fight back to the lobby in that 13th position. Not looking too good for them at all. But hey, they still got their position up top right now, but aimless. Wow, he has found that particular angle real quick onto Muffin, and now this is the opening they need. And from Mass, really looks to be on the front foot real quick. Desire with the grenade in hand. This is tough. Sincerity is not having a good day right now.
Yeah, sincerity not having quite a good day right there. I do feel like Muffin or Desire. One of them, I'm not really sure, wasn't too aware about the environment. They should have been able to spot that movement coming in from Mars. I mean, you were up that hill, you were watching that region, so you should have been able to see them. Or really trying as much as possible to put on a fight right there. He is able. Why did he go for that finish? Why didn't he? Just chill. I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but
Yeah,
sincerity, not having a great time. I do feel like Rogue Baby should probably just pull away from that particular one. Just try as much as possible to get those placement points right about now. But Mars being absolutely crazy, absolutely hot right now, and trying as much as possible to keep this up in the game. But sincerity trying to get away from that one, Rogue Baby, and then comes across the boys from Zero Tolerance, and that will be the end for sincerity. Sincerity not having quite a great time so far.
that was actually quite a good third party there from in Zimbi. They changed the way that fight ended. Aimless might still be up and alive if Inzimbi did not third party that fight. Because yeah, the man when he had to go for the finish, he knew he was dead. There were shots coming in right from behind him. There were players hammering him onto his position from ahead. He was like, yo, I knocked one, I'm taking this man with me. The kill point might just be what we need right now. And that is going to be it. We can see from us looking downhill right now against Inzimbi trying to exchange some fire, shots left, right, and center. Dark Ghost. He's got that hard pick thing coming up right there. I hope it works for him, but Turbo is not going to be falling for that one today. I believe that man is going to get the MVP. I'm still hammering in on it, bro.
Definitely looking like he can. But taking a look at the way things are currently situated for the team in Zim B, we've talked about them in the previous game. They're one of those teams that we'll be looking, at and seeing if they can continue, if they can grab some of those extra points. They haven't really played a lot of games. They played just 9 games so far, Viper, and they still have a shot on this one.
Yeah.
They haven't played 3 games. They're behind. A team like Fear. They're still about 3 games behind, and if they can get out of today, if they can get out of this last page and maybe just moving to the second page on this particular day, I still feel like they do have a chance.
Definitely, there's still the chance if they just need a really, really, probably like 2 games, really 2 good games, and they would be back up right there. Possibly just pull off like 10 kills in each game and end up winning the game. That's like 50 points clear. They will be out of that last page real quick. But as it stands right now, we can see it's getting closer and closer. The zone is getting smaller and smaller, and EFX is just trying to power through humongous number of barrels pointing down towards them, losing one player as they make that rotation right now. Pyro is not going to be stopping for anything. It's like even if rain is falling, even if the thunderstorms are rolling down, even the snow is thick as whatever it can be, just keep driving. You gotta stay up alive. But right now, shots are going to be ropping off left, right, and center. Ziri TS up against BJ. BJ has not been having the best of days today, though, Tony. It's been really, really hectic for them.
Yeah. I feel like personally, right, they're in a lobby where you have several different teams, like Zero Tolerance, like Team Zimbi, like AFX, who are trying the much possible to do well, like Team Lag. You understand? Now, when you're sitting down in that first position, you don't really have the same pressure that all of those other teams have, like Zero Tolerance, and that's exactly what's playing out right here. For them, it's like a
Yeah.
do or die situation, but for BJ, it's like we've already shown our performances, we've already done well, we've given enough, so for them, it's just fun or just a spoiler for now.
Wow!
Wait, what? What did
What?
I just see for Paradox? My goodness, Viper.
This man is just dropping people. 1, 2, 3. One single spray. All headshots. What a play, man. What a play. What? Wait. Did I see that alone?
Whoa, whoa. And the last player right there for Sidemen gets sent out of the game. I was hoping to see more from Sidemen, predicting before this game started. I was thinking that they were going to be that team that was going to be popping up right there. But my goodness, that from Paradox was absolutely crazy as he took out 3 players, from that vehicle, just absolutely turned the game on his head for the boys for Sidemen, and they're out of the game right there. To be curious to see, if they can go on and continue to, win this particular game. But let's see how it goes as the last player right there for Raptors gets taken out and sent back right there into the lobby by
Yeah.
was that Paradox again?
Yeah, I think it was another player from ZTS. But
Okay.
ZTS is actually looking really strong on this one. They've gotten themselves that nice positioning down over right there, and they are just looking to beam out every single players that are rotating right around them, catch them out in the open, catch them in the vehicles, just sprat all around them. But inside is also eating up right now to Team Lag, and we'd love to see how that one is going real quick because Team EFX right now is also making a preparation to just set up for enemy teams that might be around them. And Mars is still setting up this ambush right now for Team Inzimbi. This is what you love to see. Love to see. They are just waiting out here, and that ghost has still got that hard pick going on. But lovely to see. Lovely to see how each one of these games is currently going on right there. It is wow. Team EFX, they've got their work cut out for them. They've got 4 teams, 4 players killed already, and are just waiting right on the edge of the zone. Not much of a problem right now. And earlier on, I predicted that Bootcamp was going to be in the zone, but I think I was a little bit far off. But we've got Painan right now, though.
Yeah, we got Painan right here. Mars still putting in the damage right there. They've gotten themselves 5 kills as they are trying as much as possible to get into, a good spot within that zone. They've got a couple of teams right there in front of them. There's also the boys Lag Berserk, who is right there in. You can see Z-God is putting in the work as he's trying as much as possible to make that push into that location where you do have several different teams, but they've got to get into that zone. We still got about 8 teams left right here, and they're about to come into that crosshairs with the boys from Zero Tournaments who are holding a very good position within that zone, and it is a very tough one for a lot of these teams, Viper, as that position within Painan where all these teams are currently situated at has just got a little portion of it. The rest is all the way up on that hill, Viper.
Whoa, this next zone that just popped, man, Look at that. ZTS position perfectly, as you said. Quite well. Maybe not perfectly, but quite well right on the edge of the zone, waiting to see if they could catch other things. But in Zimbia, on the other hand, I've got players all scattered around, down the hill, up on the hill, needs to make their way a little bit down that hill. But that positioning from Paradox is going to spot drop off in the distance, get a couple of shots dropped into his position, and the zone is going to be dealing that damage right there. And Wizards got to concoct some abracadabra to get himself out of that position right now. But Lord, on the other hand, he's going to be catching a couple of bullets towards his position real quick. This is what you love to see, because right now, okay, I can only see that towards the southwestern part of this zone right now, a couple of teams might be able to sneak in from those buildings right there. Did I say southwestern? I meant eastern part of the zone. Look at this zone, Tony.
Man, this zone absolutely crazy. Zero tolerance and Mars just coming into a fight right there. Mars trying as much as possible to get into that zone, but right there in front of them, you got the boys from Zero Tolerance just holding things down. As Unknown is now the last one inside those buildings, just absolutely, just furious right now, just trying to wonder, like, am I gonna go into the zone, or do I just, do the hill strats and just get myself all the way, up on that particular leaderboard. There's also a player from Underrated who's in that position. There's also a player right there from Team Nzimbi, and it's a very tough one, but Zero Tolerance looking quite good. But my goodness, look at that right there from Team Nzimbi, just trying as much as possible to hold things down, and they have taken down two players right there from Zero Tournaments. Is now left with just Paradox to try as much as possible to hold things down, and this is where things could actually now turn on his head and might be an opportunity right there for EFX.
Yeah, EFX has got that opportunity right there, but also with the opportunity, if they use the terrain they've got quite well, if they remain active, if they are not going to be staying right behind the scenes right now, could be in Zimbi getting this one and the bag right there. Not much of a mess to work with for Paraboy right now. Team in Zimbi is looking really strong on this one. As it's just two teams right now currently in the zone as Raptor gets out of this one. We've got Underrated Esports Paraboy trying to keep his team up inside this one, trying to stay up as long as possible, but they are currently in that top five right now. But looking up on top of that, we've got Team Inzimbi, two players up there just waiting. I'm not exactly sure which other team is up there with them, but it comes out guns blazing. But Paradox is going to get him out and resume his healing prowess right real quick. So it's going to be Team EFX and Team Inzibi, both two teams that really do need this at the moment, up against each other. They are not too aware of each other's positioning. You can see Dark Ghost and his teammate just trying to, randomly spam the grenades, the Molotov, hoping to catch a little bit of damage left, right, or center real quick. Unknown down there still healing up. Oh, I think Dark Ghost is onto something right now. He sends the grenade forward. Will that be connecting onto Mercury? That is a good connection right there. Just one more, and this might just be what the net. Oh, this is the tough part right now. Three teams up alive, two currently in the zone. EFX, Inzimbi going up at it. Pyro getting a bit adventurous, moving a little bit forward, trying his best to be as inconspicuous as possible. Mercury also going for that sneak, flanking real quick. Everyone in the grass looking for that pixel out of place. How is this going to end up, Tony? Who do you think is going to be clutching this one?
Man, it is very difficult to determine, who's going to, win this one. But the way the boys from Inzimbi have been playing, the Wizard OP and Dark Horse look like they might actually take this one home, and they've got that heal and height advantage, so they might just be able to spot one of the players right there from AFX, and you can see Mars just going, down right there, and it is a very, very, very tough position for all of this, guys. Dark Ghost and Wizard OP versus Mercury and Pyro. It's all down to very slim margins right there. You can see Dark Ghost has, the tree to provide him that cover, and he's getting really close to Mercury, and this might just be it. And he gets that knock, and it's now down to just one player, and it's just Pyro Viper. Can Pyro get that 1v2, or is it Tim and Zimbi with this winner chicken dinner?
Yeah, it is all down to Pyro right now, but that ghost is gonna come up right there, and man, it's pretty much rolled itself. And check it out in Zimbi. They came in with that much needed win. We talked about this. We said what would it take for Team Zimbi to actually bring it up, but now they've got that 20 points, and they just need to do a little bit more to catapult themselves forward, in to that finals.
It is a bit worrying though. It is a bit worrying that although Team Nzimbi were able to get themselves this winner chicken dinner, yes, they have won out on Sanhok. Yes, they've gotten themselves at number one. Yes, they've gotten only 20 points though, Actfire. Every single time in the semifinals. You know, we were speaking about it after we saw Erangel, when we saw the magnificent performance emerging from Team Lag. They got 31 points, which does represent some of the top 3 placement points that we've seen coming out of one of these semifinals matches. This performance from Team Nzimbi, they might have won, but this certainly represents the lowest points tally being grabbed by any singular squad that has come into these portion of the semifinals. And the very, very, very worrying thing at Fire is that yes, it's good for momentum, but these amount of points don't actually get them into the place they want to be. This has not guaranteed them the safety of being in the top 16 properly. And that's a very awkward situation because for the most part, when we've seen these teams get these WWCDs, it's elevated their prospects pretty much from 0 to hero. From Team Nzimbi, it's like just 0 to 1. We still have a lot of work for them to do over the next 2 maps of the evening.
Yeah, exactly. They do definitely need another performance like this to continue to, boost their chances all the way into that second or maybe even first spot. So it's a very tough one for the team in Zimbi. While they've done well in this particular game, to continue to grab those extra points, maybe they will be sitting down in about 70 something or maybe 80 points right about now. But they will need to continue to put in that pressure right there. Maybe another winner chicken dinner or 20 points game, then we may be talking about them moving on to that second page.
Viper, why do you think it is that this was such a low scoring overall matchup? They only got 20 points in general, most of it coming in from their placement points, not that many eliminations. And I don't think I saw any one squad get more than 9 eliminations in this as well. Well, we'll see, of course, when the leaderboard does come up to our screens. But why do you think that was the case, especially considering that Sanhok is usually where the opposite happens, where you have these blowout kind of performances coming from these teams? Why was it so close coming into today's matchup?
Well, a couple of things could be responsible. Is actually responsible for that. You can see majority of the teams out here in this particular Sanhok knows what is at stake. No one is taking that extra risk, and at the same time, the game finished in a position where there were buildings. Although at the end of the day, they had to like move out of those buildings, so there were crossfire exchanges between multiple teams. So the the kill points right there did not go exactly to one particular team, because you see multiple knocks and different teams are like, hey, let me steal that, hey, let me have that, and hey, let me get that. So basically, yeah, it's quite well distributed across each one of the teams that played towards that final points right there. So that's why I think we didn't get that much of kill points going directly to just one team.
Let us see who was the one player, though, that was able to accrue the most amount of kill points for himself, as we do have the MVP coming in from Sanhok for the evening. This is week number 9, day number 1. And for several of these players, they're not going to be allowed to participate further than today. Vortex coming in with 5 eliminations for himself from the side of Zero Tolerance Skills. This is intriguing to me here, Actfire, because for the most part, when we've seen ZTS get somebody with an MVP vote, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Skydu. Vortex today, maybe Skydu feels like he wants to take a little bit of a break. He's coming in with these 5 eliminations, but they're in a very interesting position, the ZTS squad, right? Because they don't need this at all. Like, there's several squads that don't necessarily feel safe in their positioning, but after what we saw from them on Erangel, after what we've seen from them now on Sanhok, I think they can probably one of the few squads that can start breathing and being like, okay, we've done enough. We just have to make sure we don't completely squander the rest of the 2 games. As long as we get 5 points, I think would probably be a decent return from ZTS. Do you think that they are prepared to take the pedal, or rather their foot off the pedal, or are we still at a point where nobody can feel safe enough to let off on their performances?
I think mostly because a lot of teams who do have outstanding games, Zero Tolerance cannot afford to put their foot off that pedal, because they have played about 13 games and now 14 games, and there are still teams who have about four games of standing. So what they've got to do is to continue to grab those points as much as they can, because if they don't, then all of a sudden teams like Rila Insider, teams like Trinity, Lag, Team EFX, as well as Team Zimbi and Yokila is, who don't have all those points, might be able to catch up on them and maybe even surpass them. So they got to be really careful on how they take every single match. Yeah, and that's like what it is. Yeah.
We'll be seeing exactly how those teams were rewarded in some of their points tally, because you're bringing up a very interesting point, right? All those squads we're about to be seeing on our screen right now, most of them, yet again, second game in a row here, Viper, where the bulk of our top 8 teams are teams that were occupying the bottom 16 positions earlier on. I'm looking at EFX. I'm looking at Nzimbi with this WWCD. I'm looking at a team lag coming in the 7th position. And, X5 just mentioned it now. The fact that all of these squads are pretty much concerned about somebody else coming in with a monstrous enough performance to elevate them from zero to hero, as it were. And when I look at these leaderboards, match on match, it does seem to be the case that, it could actually be any team. If I had asked you to bet money on how high the odds are of Nzimbi taking Sanhok, I doubt you would have taken that action. Yet here they are.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't have. This was a complete shocker to me, I must say, but they did quite well being able to actually clutch that winner on a chicken dinner. And you could see that majority of the teams down there are fighting tooth and nail, fighting really hard to get themselves back into that particular top 16 right there. And that's what you will love to see. That is the dynamics that I love seeing in games like this, because you do know this is your last chance, this is your possible last chance, and you got to give it all your best. So if you relax at any point in time on that second page, then be in the blink of an eye, you're out, man. You're back straight to that relegation point, fighting hard.
I was asking you earlier, and I was being a little bit skittish about how shallow the point haul was from the side of Nzimbi. However, on the bright side is that it does mean that this distribution of points is beautiful to behold. Between number 1 and number 5, only 5 points really separate them. Pretty much nothing in it between all of these squads. Relay Insider, 6th place with 6 points. The drop-off is pretty significant between these squads, but I'm really worried mostly about these teams on the second page. It's one thing when there's only like 1 or 2, 3 squads at most that are grabbing double digits points here, Actfire. But when there's 5 of them and you're not in there, and you're on this 3rd page, and you're not in the top 16, things are getting really scary, especially considering that Sanhok is where you would normally anticipate that action being beneficial towards some of the lower ranked squads. Things only get harder from here. We're back to Miramar and Erangel yet again. Miramar, extremely strategic heavy. Erangel, of course, we've seen as a bread and butter of what tactical cohesion should look like. So if I'm not in these top 5 squads and I'm not in the top 16, I think I might be having to hire some people, Actfire, to throw in some DDoS attacks against my opponents, because it's not looking pretty for the evening.
Yeah, definitely. It's not looking quite easy, for a lot of teams, especially moving into, their next map in Miramar, where we usually see the more tactical teams, the teams who, love to rotate quite quickly into the zone, winning those kind of games. And, this is where teams like BJE might come in and shine. The regular teams, who are sitting all the way in that top, maybe teams like Team Unique might be able to come in and show their dominance and exactly why they're all the way up on that leaderboard. But let's see how it goes. If that's exactly what we're going to see, or are we going to see the fight from the guys in the second and the third page continue?
That's one of the difficult things about this particular point of the competition. The fact that if you are a Mad Knights, if you are a Blackjack Esports, if you are a Team Unique, finding the necessary amount of motivation to perform at maximum level today might be a little bit hard to come by. And given their points haul, one could forgive them for making that decision. But at the end of the day, you never know exactly how these other squads are going to perform. And if you don't get the points necessary on Miramar or on Erangel Part 2, then despite your incredible performances, you could still easily be left out of the top 16. It would not be the first time we've seen it happen here in the Umzansi Esports League, brought to you by Northern Gaming, and it certainly would not be the last. Of course, here we are seeing what the point tally has been like from Sanhok. Very shortly, we'll be seeing what this is going to be reflecting in the leaderboards overall. And at that point in time, I want to talk about the squads that have been doing well traditionally up until this point, Viper, but haven't been able to perform that well today. Despite the fact that, for example, Team Unique and Blackjack Esports have had tepid performances, we're looking at the rewards of consistency early. If you pop off early, you get to take these breaks, because Team Unique, think about it. They just came bottom on Sanhok and they're still second overall in the leaderboards. That's kind of ridiculous to me to imagine. But that's what is the reward of having dominance early on. You don't need to show up at the very latter portions of the competition.
Yeah, at this point they are just on cruise control. Like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. Pretty sure one of them is possibly like watching a movie beside, and it's like, oh, so yes, guys, they just killed somebody inside the movie I'm watching. Because yeah, they're already up there and they've got that safety net already. Like, yeah, they are doing quite well. But looking down right now, the rated esport from Mars already climbing up high. Right, the ZTS not even doing too bad as well, climbing to that first page real quick right there. It's what you love to see. You love to see, although I'm looking to see a couple of teams that just got 10 games play. You can see Team Lag still down back to that second page, but Mad Knight also not too far off. So basically, the dynamics of doing well earlier on, accruing those points, definitely helps you towards the ending part of the games.
Actfire, one of the things that we spoke about a little bit off air was some of these squads that haven't yet played all of their matchups and exactly how things look this evening for them. The squad that I'm terrified about, Raptor Esports, they're in 15th place, 79 points. But the one thing that's standing out on page number 2 is they're the only squad here with 14 games played, only 2 maps remaining, and they don't actually have that much safety from the squads around them. Tell me, Actfire, if they don't get into page 1 today on the side of Raptor Esports, if they can't post the kind of performances necessary to climb into the top 8, do we have to start talking about them as being one of the squads that we were favoring coming into this, but will still find themselves relegated almost immediately afterwards?
I think so. I think they do need to be very careful. Not get complacent. Sometimes you might be able to just get complacent in situations like this. And looking all the way from that 9th position to that 16th, you're seeing just about 30 points. Just separating them. So they got to be really careful because Desert Flames could have one really good game and boost themselves all the way into that top and then continue to push those teams down. You're seeing teams like Tim and Zimbi who are sitting down at that 20th spot, but if they do have another 30 bomb, then they move all the way up into that next page.
Yeah.
So it's a very tough one. One great performance could boost a team from one spot to the next, and you're seeing AFX is beginning to climb up, sidemen as well. Aatrox now has gone down all the way into that 19th spot while they were sitting down before today started in that second page. So it's very tough for a lot of these teams. So any points you can get, any kill, you got to take it. Every single point counts at this point in time.
Team Zimbi right now with their 20-point haul coming in from Sanhok have, of course, elevated themselves into 20th spot. They are 20 points separated from coming into like 15th at this point in time. So if they can find another performance like they did on Sanhok, it could easily be them climbing the ranks. But of course, if I'm saying that they're only 20 points separated, that means that there are 4 squads ahead of them that could still easily find the performance necessary to climb into the top 16. It is still anybody's game to play for. It is still all the slots available in the top 16 that still need to be competed for. We'll be witnessing exactly how these teams do vie for those spots once we get into Miramar, the 3rd map of the evening. In the meantime, we're going to be taking a very short break, and when we return, the action will continue. The Umzansi Esports League will continue, and Nodwin Gaming Africa will still be seeing who is the best squad of PUBG Mobile in the African continent. But for now, this is Snare, Viper, and Axfire taking a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, one and all. Here at the Umzansi Esports League, Season 5 continues to heat up, and we now are in our third map of this day number 9, or week number 9 rather, day number 1. Very important matchup, because after this, we'll have a very clear picture of which squads we can anticipate going into the top 16, because the final map of the evening is Erangel Part 2, and we have a pretty good idea of what that's going to look like this evening. Of course, before we get into this one, as the teams are about to light this one up, Viper, I will give you the final prediction on this. Let us have an interesting one. How many phases of this game are we going to be having, and how many teams are going to be left in the final zone of competition?
Well, when you say how many phases, what do you mean by that?
It's like how many zones? Yeah.
Like how many zones? I reckon we'll get as close as zone 7, I believe, and then final zone we're gonna be having about, off the top of my head, 7 teams.
Yo.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a lot of solos and duos out there.
All right, Viper giving us the 7-7 prediction. I love it. This is the one we're here for. So let us be finding out within this map of Miramar. Super important. For many of these squads, this is their penultimate map here in the Umzansi Esports League Season 5. So they will need all your support. They will need all their tactical acumen. So let's see what they can bring to the table here on Miramar. And to bring us this action, we do have Agfire and Viper. So gentlemen, take it away once again, and I'll talk to you afterwards.
All right. We're back for some action right here, all the way in Miramar, and this is where we usually see some mad, crazy action going down between these teams, as they usually do have a lot of space to go absolutely aggressive. What we do notice, Viper, sometimes, or most times, is that we see a lot of early action going down, and then teams now start to take things a lot easier as they begin to progress, and then going into the final circle, we then see the absolute chaos. So
Yeah.
let's go again. Castakos. Who are we giving it to?
At this point, I know it's gonna be a bit crazy getting that caster course out, but I possibly might just give it to Team Lag. They've been doing well today, so let's see how well they can continue that consistency. So I'll be looking to see Team Lag in that top position, hopefully getting another winner chicken dinner, possibly even getting into that first position on the overall ranking as well.
All right, so I'm going to give mine to Mad Knights. Let's see what they do, if it's going to be a curse or a blessing for them. They're already sitting down in Picado, and it does look like we might be seeing some action going down between the boys from Mad Knights right there. I'm not sure what clan exactly they are currently situated with, but it does look like they are both getting ready to annihilate each other. As we did say that zone right there is shifting towards that southern region, that south central region, and we do have a lot of teams already separated within that spot right there. We do see Your Killer is not too far away from the boys from Zero Tournaments, and right there in Picado, we're already seeing the action beginning to go down, as one of the players from Madness has already been taken down. And my goodness, that caster cost may already begin to reveal itself right there in Picado, as one of the players from Mad Knights has now been punched and sent out of the game by Team Unique.
Yeah, quite interesting to see how that is going right now. Team Unique and Mad Knight already eating it up. Mad Knight is still up in this one. They've got 3 players up alive and looking to, wiggle their way out of whatever situation they've got themselves into. But as it stands right now, ZTS has got the mobility and is just looking to get the loot on right now. Team Unique with 2 kills up already. Oh my, your caster's course is strong on this one. I'm a win when I'm a win. Is all alone right now as Ansley is looking for the angle. Ansley is making that push forward. Oh, that is gonna be a buggy escape. Oh, smooth one right real quick right there from Win. And it's not out of the woods yet, as Ansley is still going in for the push. Is he going alone? No, it doesn't seem like he's going alone. But Tyson, at this point, if Tyson has the right angles, if the buildings are not blocking him, then he could actually be able to get in just the nick of time, man. I don't know. What would you do in this kind of situation? It's a really tough one.
Run, run, run. Get out of there. Get out of that position. He's in a bad spot. He's got a couple. Whoa, but my goodness, he gets taken down as Hansley and the boys are looking as much as possible, to take them down. And Mad Knight's in a very, 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 very sticky situation right there as they have, the boys from Unique being absolutely hungry for those kills. We could say that they are absolutely greedy for kills as they do take out, the boys from Mad Knights are right there. And Unique, in the situation where, they don't actually need, those skills and, oh, I'm a win, trying to drop the loot, trying to bribe them, not to take him out. But he still gets sent back into the lobby as they say, no, we don't need your fuel. We don't need your coins. And they send him out of the game.
Yeah, back to the lobby with you. Back to supporting your solo squad. Member left up alive. 3 kill points up to Team Unique, looking all shit of strong right now. Well, even on the overall leaderboard, they're looking quite strong with in that second position as well. As of this time, they are just cruising and having some fun in this particular match right there. Quite unfortunate right there. As they would have probably needed more points, but Unique at this point they don't need any points. Anyways, this is what you love to see here, especially with teams that are already up there and they are not just stressing too much and just trying to have fun at this point. But you do see the first two games they've had today wasn't too good, I must say. But I believe they were just having some fun out there and not really taking it too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. They were just having their fun. They were just taking it easy, and they're sitting quite in a comfortable spot within that overall leaderboard. So the pressure is, literally off for them. They can push boot camp, they can push the guys from Mars. They got taken out right there while they were making that push in that game in Sanhok. But for a team like this, who that's already, done quite well for themselves, they've literally, put in the performances that they require to qualify. Even after today, you can see after the first two games, they're still quite, sitting down comfortably in that second spot. So it obviously means that, they know that they have what it takes, to qualify onto the next level. So they have nothing, absolutely nothing to be worried about. They can go on and just continue to entertain us right here in this particular game. So we'll see how that one does progress, for a team like Unique, with Hansley Cash, Phoenix, putting in an absolutely great performance, so far in the Umzansi semifinals, and see if they continue those performances all the way into, that final. But the only thing I'll say is sometimes when you just, remove your foot off that pedal and you just start getting complacent, those performances may just follow you into the next phase. So they got to watch out for that. They got to be ready to switch things up when it is needed.
Look at that. ZTS might actually have just gotten a couple of free knocks onto YKI, onto your killer ace, but doesn't seem like they're taking the shots right now, giving your killer ace the opportunity to make their rotations out of that position. And I don't know if they were just being triggered, disciplined right there, but I felt they probably should have taken a couple of shots since they had the advantage, they had the surprise, they had the element of surprise real quick right over there. But right now, it just seems like they've given your killer is the opportunity to regroup and get themselves into some better cover right there. Although I'm not sure if they are still aware of the fact that ZTS is just up on top on the hill, you know, scouting at them real quick. But Caramel might just have the shot. Will he be taking it right now? Doesn't seem like he's going to be taking it. It's quite open. Let's go. Not connecting those shots, unfortunately. It's just going to be a waste of couple of 5.56. Now their positioning has been exposed, but if you look at it, they should not forget the fact that there's still someone back in that building and they've got to keep their eyes peeled right now.
All right, Zero Tolerance looking to continue to grab themselves, those points to move up on that leaderboard to, show what they're capable of. Paradox and Vortex being absolutely outstanding in the previous game right there in Sanhok, especially that moment where we saw Paradox, take on, a player from the vehicle and also, a player from EFX. I do believe it was Mercury who took out the rest of the players. So it was an absolutely, outstanding, consistent performance, coming from them. They've not got that winner chicken dinner yet, but they've been showing, what they're capable of. Paradox, Vortex, and the rest of the team is right here. Usually, they have Skido, to count on, but the rest of the boys are now stepping things up, showing that they are capable of, winning, their fights and, performing. So we'll see how well this game goes for them, and if they can still continue to replicate the performances that we've seen in, the Sanhok and the Erangel game so far. So let's see how that goes. It does look like they're sort of like edging things for now. They're not trying to rotate quickly into that zone. Do you think that's going to pay off for them, Viper, or that's detrimental, especially in a map like, Miramar?
It's really difficult to say right now, as it all depends on what the zone decides to do, and it depends on how well they ride the edge. Because riding the edges in this kind of situation does imply that you have to be able to move fast. You have to be able to decide quickly while you're riding the edge. Do you want to clear out the team right in front of you, or do you want to make a rotation? Do you want to take the risk of running away from them and running into yet another team? And if you are going to be riding the edge, you should have it at the back of your mind that yes, this team that and whatever team that is going to be an entrance to us making our move into that nail edge we want to be, then we want to take them out as quickly as possible, which is what I think they should do right there. As it stands right now, we can see the push coming up right now from Team Unique, as they have tasted blood earlier on today and are hungry for more. Sporting underrated esport right in front, but Ansley is going to be the first man on the receiving end of that one. They've dropped a couple of players on the other end as well. Narrated esport not doing too good on this one, as Boy and Clutch God is up alive. Fellas, Zeros, Piros just slowly but surely bleeding out right now, hoping to get some revive. I think Unique on the other hand has just one player down, and they are looking to actively find the angle, as Kaish is currently making the quick movements with the buggy. Oh, nice one. So right now he's cutting off the possibility of that revive real quick. But now everyone has got their work cut out for them, checking angles to make sure they are not flanked right now. But Clutch Cut could be the man to change the narrative right now, as he's going to be coming in from a different angle. Para boy. He's going to be stuck in that building. The grenades are going to be popping in left, right, and center. He's got to wiggle out a lot to get himself away from that position. But oh, I'm loving that movement from Clutch Cut. But look at Kaish. He's got a sliver of health just left up alive. Oh, Paraboy down now. It is all down to Clutch God. Will he be able to live up to his name, Tony? Will he be able to live up to
All
his
right,
name?
Clutch God right here has got to live up to his name and seal this game for his team. But right there, Zist not having any of that and sending the boys some underrated out of the game. And right there, Team Unique playing an absolutely spoiler game for now. Remember, we did speak about, those teams who are sitting all the way in that top, playing spoiler in this particular game and trying as much as possible to take out a couple of teams right here. All right, so we're done with the Team Unique. Now we're turning our sights onto the boys from BJE coming up against the boys from Inzimbi, who we did speak about before this game started, needing those points, but coming up against teams like BJE, they absolutely are finding it really, really tough. You can now see the boys from BJE pushing onto this particular location. They come in, they get that knock, and then they take Ice BR. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but they take Ice down right there, and they're down to now just two players, left in this particular one. Wizard OP, I do believe, able to take down Reverb, and right now the boys from BJE have got three players up against in Zimbi. You can see Wizard trying as much as possible to go in for that revive, but he gets knocked down by Phoenix, and Viper BJE is absolutely storming and taking on Team Inzimbi.
But looking at what Inzimbi, the setup Inzimbi had, there was actually a pretty good setup. But no, BJE was actually able to sniff out their positioning and use the layout of the land exactly to their advantage, using the dips, popping out when necessary, finding and sniffing out vulnerable players, getting the angles and dropping the shots as quickly as possible. They are up by 2 kill points. You can see MG right with the Overwatch right now, and Phoenix quite in a delicate spot, but still making it work as it stands right now. Team Inzimbi Simbi on the other hand has got just that ghost left up alive and is still looking to go up against Kaish. Oh man, is this yet another 1v1 between Kaish and Ghost? But as I said, we can see the remainder of Team Unique creeping up right behind him and looking to get that engagement in the grenades on every single angle. This man has got to prenade the angles as well. So that fight might not be happening because I think there's a third party also currently going on right now. But what do you think that Ghost can do at this point? Moving out of this position is really, really difficult and delicate. Should he stay and fight? Should he try to get out of here? What are his choices? Well, I don't think he has any more
Well,
as he's down.
I mean, he's got him taken down right there, but I do believe that he did not have much choices in that particular one. He had to try as much as possible to stay in and fight. As we do see the boys from Zero Tournaments getting taken out of the game, we're seeing more and more of the boys who are sitting down on top of that. The big boys, showing what they're capable of as BJE and Team Unique, showing their performances right there as they do take out a couple of teams around them. Team Insane be out of the game, Zero Tolerance as well. We can now focus our sights on the rest of the 12 teams who are currently on ground right here. Team Lag holding the high position right there. Fantasy sending on shots onto several different teams who are rotating around and trying to get into that zone, and those shots not connecting for now as they are looking to evade Fantasy shots and head into that zone right there. My goodness, what a tough one for a lot of these teams as they're trying as much as possible to stay alive, to survive, and Fantasy is trying as much as possible to put in that work, to put in that damage and get those distant kills.
Man, inside Africa, the player in them must be screaming like, bruh, leave me alone. Like you're not even getting to fully do the damage into me, but yet you are offloading off your bullets into my position. Like, come on! I would be raging behind my screen. Like, come on, leave me alone. Like, yeah. How is this gonna be? But Team Lag on the other hand, you can see they are hungry for that kill. They are giving up that body language that they want to take the fight, they want to take the kills. They are not looking too bad in that kill department. They've got 16 kills, but they might actually need to tone it down a little bit. As you can see, Kakao might just be exposing himself in a bit. One Eye already getting it hard right now inside that positioning themselves quite well. I think it might be really difficult for One Nine to get out of the position he's got himself into right now. And now you could see what Insider has done. They've turned the game around, Tony. They've turned it around. And now they are in the zone getting ahead of Team Lag.
All right, so now the hunter becomes the hunted as insiders looking to make that push onto their location, or maybe they're going to be retreating, but themselves a little bit of time to now retreat away from that position. And Team Lack has got to move all the way into that zone as well, as the fifth zone is going to be approaching very soon. But now they have two players who are currently knocked down, and will Kakao and Berserk be moving back into that situation to try and get them back up. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're going to prioritize getting into that zone as much as they can, as the other two players are currently situated out of it and have been lobbied right now. This zone doing a lot of damage, and we're now seeing several different teams also trying to make the rotations. Your Killer is trying to rotate around that location where we do have the boys Mars. We might be seeing the fight going down in any moment right now. Your Killer is haven't gotten into a fight so far, and you can see them just getting into this region right here with Mars on the kill feed right there. We do see the boys from Raptors and Sidemen also going at each other. Two teams who do also need to continue to grab themselves those extra points on that leaderboard, but it is crazy times, Viper. Your Killer is versus Maz. Let's take this one home.
Yeah, your Killer is versus Mars versus Team Unique, I believe. It's a three-way fight right now. They've sent your Killer is back. Your Killer is was actually going on the offensive right real quick, right there, just pushing up in trying to get the shots in, but unfortunately, Team Unique coming into the play just stunted that attack they've got planned onto from Mars. But from Mars, it's also looking towards Team Unique. It is a triangle. Oh, it's even more than a triangle. I think this figure has got this shape has got multiple sides right now, as we can see. multiple teams just popping off into this one. Sidemen looking towards Raptors. Raptors, they need this. They don't want to get taken out real quick. You can see Zampi immediately retreating, trying to get himself. Oh, he's not even retreating. He's going head on. Okay, he's retreating back to his teammates right there. And man, such cover fire right there from Victor just to get his teammate back home, back to the lobby. Never leave a man behind real quick right there. And he's connecting the shots. Will he be able to get that knock? Sidemen on the edge of the zone. The next one might just push them out straight into the hands of Raptor. They've got to find a way out of that one. They've got to wrap up that fight really quickly, or find an angle to get the upper hand in this fight, Tony.
Really tough one for a lot of these teams. As you can see, the boys from Sandman trying as much as possible to hold that edge right there, not too far away from Raptors. And both teams are trying as much as possible to remain cautious about moving into the next zone. Things are going to become absolutely bloody. And while they were waiting, that 6th zone is not going to be holding it down for any one of these teams. As we do see right there on the kill feed, Lag and Mars going at each other's neck, they're taking on players on each side. And my goodness, Viper, we're still down to about 11 teams. And you do remember the prediction of being in that 7th zone with about 7 teams, and it's looking quite likely right here. Oof. As we do focus on Mars as Unknown goes down and Log is making that push. They do need to continue to grab themselves those points. We did see a winner chicken dinner coming from them, but you do know that they do have the firepower to continue to take on this fight right here. But also not too far away from them is the boys from Your Killer is turning the direction onto the boys from BJE, I do believe. And my goodness, it's a tough one at every single corner. Violence happening left, right, center. Your Killer is now beginning to rotate into that zone as well. And Mad Knights on the kill feed sent out of the game. We're down to 10 teams.
Oof, that was a big gamble right there from Mars, jumping out into them right there, Unknown, just going straight into the Unknown, but now he's going to get sent down on all fours real quick. Well, we can see Team Lag right now also spotting Tobo from the distance, hopefully trying to connect the shot, but Tobo, I don't think he's going to be able to make that one as he's bleeding out real quick. He's gotten taken out. Yep, that's going to be him taken out completely. Team Lag looking a bit strong on this one. Team EFX also trying to keep it up together. They've still got all 4 players alive, but for how long is that going to be? Sully back in the game, looking to push up forward, make it real. Also, it's going to get revived really quickly. How is this one going to be? Your killer is where did that shot come from? He just got lasered straight back into the lobby, but now we've got BJE, we've got EFX going at it. A full man squad, BJE pushing up onto Sully and Pyro right now. Smokes everywhere. How are they going to chatter this particular one? The grenades are going to keep coming in. Oh, now it is going to be a sandwich as EFX has got that 2-2 game play coming up right now, but BJE is taking that real estate just downstairs, not giving any opportunity for EFX to make that rotation around them. How is this going to be? Is this zone going to be the set? They want to settle this one real quick. Are they going to be making importantly, Reverb might be coming in with a grenade. Tony, how is this going to turn out?
Man, it's a very tough one coming in for the boys from EFX. As you can currently see they're being pinned in that building right there, and the nades are currently just flying in left, right, center. Sudi has gone down, and Reverb's already making that push, but they're able to hold in that defense as Pyro is able to put in a defense in that particular spot. And BJE have one player who's currently down, so it's very, very tough. But you can see with Pyro currently down, Zane making that push, and EFX is looking like they might get sent out of the game as they're down to just the last guy. They're down to just Nico, who's still somehow putting in a defense in this particular game. He's able to get 1 knock. I do believe he's able to get 2. And right now, it's a 1v1 situation. It is Zane versus Nico, and who is going to get that final knock? But look at how low Zane's health is. If Nico does pull up onto this particular position, he could spell the end for this team, and he is currently just waiting. He is not aware of how low things currently are for the boys from BJE, and he pulls up onto that situation in that last moment and gets taken out.
That was so close. He could have changed the whole narrative right there if he had pushed up, if he had just gone Rambo really quickly, jumped into that particular edge and fired a couple of shots in there. He should have been able to, just imagine what was going on right there. The revives was going on, but I would really commend the fact that he went for that revive just in the nick of time, prioritizing just his teammates, the numbers over the fact that he could have rushed forward to try and get the shot in. Really beautiful thinking right there from BJE. But he's just left up alive right now. But Trinity Gaming trying hard to keep it together. You can see Messi on his heels running straight towards his teammates. He needs the support right there, but Team Lag on the other hand trying hard to chase. Oh man, the chase is on right there, but Messi handing himself quite is looking for the angle to bounce the nade off. Love to see sending the nades, but that is not going to get any sort of connection. Both teams, oh, check this out. This might just be the nade you need. Ah, that bounced out, Tony. That would have been the perfect nade. Oof. Loving this.
All right. The boys from Trinity trying as much as possible to battle and hold things down in this particular game right there. As they're down to just 2 players left, like keeps on putting in the work in this particular one, and also have got 2 players to their name. And you can see the shots coming in right there from Zinc onto that position. BJE getting taken out of the game as we're down to the last 3 players of this one. Wheeler inside, they're looking quite good as they've got a full squad going into this final circle right here. It's a very tough one for a lot of these teams, and Trinity has got to get that revive onto their player Messi, who's currently down, if they're looking to have an advantage as they move into that final circle. And a lot of these teams will be hoping and wishing that they do get the option to have that zone, that final zone in their position. Right now it's a 4v2v2 situation with the boys from Insider having a good portion of that zone, and it's all down to who has this zone right here. And look at that zone right there with the boys from Insider.
Well, it's important to note that right now Insider has got a full squad up and they are looking really strong with that positioning they've got a stack of 3 man right on top of the hill with one just on the offset, looking to see if he could catch any player just rotating around. But Trinity Gaming already catching a whiff of this. They don't have the numbers advantage on their end. They've got just 2 players up alive, which is going to be Zinc and Neil. They were so close to getting Messi, but Insider was just in the way, and Team Lag on the other end right now trying hard to make their way around this particular zone. But Bizarre, I don't know, for whatever reason, that was getting knocked out really, really quickly. So as you said, it's currently a 2-2-4. Yeah, it's currently a 2-2-4 right now, with Insider having that numbers advantage. And the layout of the smokes are already going to be coming out right now from Team Lag as they are making their preparations into the zone. Oh, that is such a vision right there from Team Lag, trying to go around and getting some solid cover, but that is not going to be enough because they still have that zone in front of them. But I believe if he could get that buggy to one of the trees and get it blown up, probably they would be able to use that as some hard cover. But man, oh man, the setup coming in right there from the Insider, it's just really, really amazing because they got that advantage. They've got the high points, they've got the numbers, they've got multiple barrels pointing downhill, and I think I'm just giving this game to Insider though.
Yeah, Insider looking quite strong right there. They've got a good spot within that zone as Lag is trying as much as possible to rotate in right there. And they've got to worry about Trinity as well. You can see Zeke just getting a knock right there onto one of the players from Trinity as Zinc gets taken down. And right now, they are just putting in damage to several of the teams who are looking to rotate into that zone. Kakao, the last one for Team Lag, holding it down right there, trying as much as possible to heal himself, but he gets taken out right there by the play zone. Great stuff coming in from Lag, finishing in 3rd place, but they got 10 eliminations to themselves. So lovely one. Right here, you got Reeler Insider almost sealing this game through as Neil's the last one, and they're trying to get that last elimination, but he takes the damage from the play zone. GG's to Reeler Insider, finishing that game with 7 kills.
Oh my! Reliance said I had the positioning, they had the numbers, they had the perfect rotations, and the god of PUBG blessed them with that amazing, amazing zone, just delivering the kills to them towards that final part right there. I must say that was a well-deserved win right there for Reliance. I did predict for them the very first game that they would win, but now they a little bit late, but yeah, they finally got it there.
Better late than never as Relay Insider find themselves getting this WWCD. 7 eliminations will earn them 22 points in the offing. Yet again, a very shallow return total points-wise for this evening after the 20 points that we saw in Zimbi drop on Sanhok. However, in general, given where Relay Insider was positioned in the overall leaderboard, they will 100% take this and they will 100% use this as an additional cushion of safety inside the top 16. Great performance from them. However, the main thing I want to really talk about here, Actfire, is yet another highly contested lobby. We were speaking about this previously after we saw Sanhok, and Viper was mentioning that you can just almost tell that these teams are cognizant of what the occasion is, aware of what the stakes are. And you're one of the people that often talks about what the body language of these squads is like. And you could certainly tell that the body language of these squads is, no one is playing to win as much as nobody very badly wants to lose tonight.
Yeah, definitely. When you see the way they're playing, there are some teams, who are sitting all the way in that top, who are just going up and down and trying as much as possible to play spoiler for a lot of these guys, like Team Unique, like, Mad Knights. They're seeing that, we're be comfortable, we're just going to go around and we're just going to have fun. Not really Mad Knights though, because I feel like they do need the points. But teams like Lag, who have gotten themselves into comfortable spots right now, can go on and just play their game. But there's also the other guys like Tim and Zimbi, who are trying as much as possible to gather those points. There's Zero Tournaments who are trying to move up there. So it's a really dynamic game. A lot of teams are trying to just survive, while some teams are just like, hey, let's go hunting, let's go look for them.
Interestingly enough, of those squads that have decided to go hunting on this one, it had some very mixed results. You did mention a team like Mad Knights who did need some of these points. Teams like Unique as well, who went for that hunt, didn't necessarily pan out for them. But Viper, for a squad like Blackjack Esports, they didn't necessarily need the points. They didn't necessarily need to put out a dominant or good performance. Yet they quietly today, early on I was a bit disappointed with how they were performing. But as we're going to be looking at this MVP of this particular map, talk to us about a squad like Blackjack Esports who are quietly and very slowly but surely just putting points on the board. I mean, if you told me beforehand, after we saw them on Miramar, on Sanhok, sorry, that on Miramar they'd come top 5, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But here they are. Team Lag were the team that eliminated them at the end. Kakao taking away 6 elimination points off the back of this. But Team Lag needs this. Blackjack Esports doesn't, and yet they still found themselves posting up another decent performance for the evening.
Hey, it is what it is. If you're good, you're good. You don't need to stress too much. Even if you're not trying, you're getting there. So that's basically it. For certain teams, it's quite effortless for them. Fine, they might not be putting too much, but they've gotten so accustomed to playing in the region. They've gotten so accustomed to playing different game styles that they just find it easy to adapt to different situations, and they don't have to try too hard to actually get themselves into these top spots.
Actually, speaking to you about, there's a moment that happened in this game, right, just towards the end there, where Blackjack Esports should have been eliminated by EFX. Nico, unfortunately, though, lost his nerve a little bit. And you were mentioning it as well, that like sometimes you do have to go for these ultra Rambo plays. Don't worry about what the circumstances are. Do you think, for example, if Team EFX had the same safety cushion as Blackjack Esports does Nico go all in for that kind of fight instead of being a bit more reserved with how he approached it?
So I understand where you're coming from, and I would say, I felt at that point in time he just needed to weigh his options. What were the options he had? Push forward and die. Stay, let him get another team revived, and possibly die because the numbers would be against him. So he had an higher chance of a success in that point in time. Why not take it? Because the most likely the end game at that point in time was him going to die. But why not take the chance when they have the lesser numbers to contend with at that point in time? But I feel like the fact that they are being pressured about the table and whatnot contributed to the fact that he just stayed back trying to play it safe.
Safety, of course, did not end up being very favorable for him, as yes, they were able to accrue some very decent placement points, but their total eliminations for Team EFX only going to land them in 7th place with 9 points overall. Of course, Relay Insider taking away the winner chicken dinner, and thus the lion's share of the points with 22 on this this third map rather of the evening of Miramar. Team Lag right behind them on 20, BJE 17, Trinity on 16, Team Unique on 10. But Actfire, it's been very interesting for me to watch how the distribution of points has been going throughout today, right? I don't know if you remember how last week looked, where last week started like this, very close, and then started to become a lot more unequal as time went on. It seems to be having a very opposite dynamic today, where things were starting out a bit further spread, but the closer we come to the final map of the evening, the closer the teams become in their overall performances. What do you think is contributing to this dynamic being in this way here in week number 9, day 1?
I think it's just because a lot of the teams in that bottom half are just fighting extra hard to try as much possible to push. You see guys like Unique, just playing spoiler for everyone, right? They didn't get those placement points, but just going around and getting the kills. You're seeing guys like Trinity who need those points, trying as much possible to get up on those placements. You're seeing Lag as well, doing the same thing. You're seeing BJE getting more eliminations, because these guys are like, we don't need the winner when chicken, we're just going to go around and get those kills. You're seeing Raptors trying to fight EFX as well. So it's like everyone, there are so many teams that absolutely need to perform right now, and it's reflecting all the way on that leaderboard.
You were just mentioning it now, how some of these higher placing squads are pretty much playing spoiler in this situation. And we saw both BJE and Team Unique with 9 eliminations apiece. For these squads that have some decent placement at the very top of the overall leaderboard, is this the viable strategy to go for the night, in your opinion? Especially going into Erangel, do they keep that up, going for this third-party type of meta? Or is it just going to be, well, one Erangel, it might be our last map here, let's just play it as amazingly safe as possible and just go for placement points, never mind the eliminations?
Yeah, I think they do need to get their eliminations. Just go in. Play your game. Don't overthink it. What's been working in the previous games is going to obviously favor you in this next game, this last game. So you can't change things right now. If you're going to go aggressive, then continue to go aggressive. If you want to push for those placement points, then absolutely push for those placement points as you move into this final game.
This is indeed a final game. As we look at the overall leaderboard right now, these rankings are incredibly important, not simply because of the amount of points that you see under the total points banner, but the all-important number right now is the matches played. Today is the penultimate day of the semifinals. Tomorrow is the final day. So that means that if you are one of these squads that hasn't yet played out all of your matches, you are in a very good position going into the next day. And especially here, Viper, if you're a squad like Reela Insider, Team Lag, not only do you have yet to play out your final matches, today you have pretty much a bonus day. You have this last map of Erangel to get more points for yourselves, and then you can still make a final push tomorrow to get yourself to the top of the leaderboard. This is actually an incredible advantage for these squads. Isn't it kind of incredible, Viper, that before we started today, Team Lag in particular, who's now sitting in 4th position, they started the day right in the bottom 24. They were 18th, and they've jumped 14 positions just off the basis of 3 maps. This must make you feel incredible as a competitor for one of these squads right now.
Yeah, I always say never say. I have said it a couple of times today. Never say never. It's not over until it is over. That is the situation right there with Team Lag. You can see if they have a really good last game today, then possibly they could even get as high as that first place position with still a lot more games to play right there, which means it's looking really good for them, I must say. But right there we can see Team Lag. They've not been doing bad at all today, and I still expect them to turn up in the last game as well.
Given the performances that they've been posting up today, it would not be completely out of bounds for them to just pop off and even win Erangel Part 2. Of course, looking at the second page of these rankings, we have 9th through 16th. And here's where things are not looking as clean and as succinct in terms of their position in this particular leaderboard. ZTS in the 10th position, 108 points, right behind BBC on 9th with 109. Very shallow distribution between 9th and, say, 13th. Gets a little bit more stark once we look at the bottom 3 placements here in the top 16. Solar Esports, of course, will still have their bite at the cherry tomorrow. The same is going to be true of the Chaos Kings. But for Raptor Esports and Team EFX, Actfire, especially Raptor, this is it. You actually can't afford to even just be okay or mediocre.
Yeah.
Here on Erangel Part 2, if you're Raptor Esports, you actually have to be looking for at least, I think, maybe even more than 30, but minimum 20, I think, is the only kind of place where you can start to feel a little bit safe about your prospects going forward in the league.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this is probably, going to be a do or die game for Raptors, because if they don't move, up on, this last game, then definitely, the teams who are on the next page are going to be taking over their spots. You have several different teams, like Nzimbi and the rest, who are looking to, come all the way into this particular page, and AFX is, steadily gathering those points. And remember, they still have, 3 games or 4 games at hand, so obviously they'll keep on moving up all the way and might even remain on this second page. So yeah, Raptors has got to do a lot to remain in this particular page.
They certainly have to pull out the most incredible performance. They aren't the only ones that need to dig deep, though, because Sidemen also looking towards their final day of competition. So we need them to try and level up and just show us exactly what they're capable of. Unfortunately, though, if we're going to be completely honest, Viper, I think it is probably the correct time to say goodbye to our first squad here in the semifinals. Sincerity Esports has no hope, do they? They need literally more than 40 points in order to be able to climb away from page 3 into page 2, get into the top 16. That has never happened in the Umzansi Esports League semifinals. It's probably not going to happen today. If you're their coach, obviously we don't want the team to be despondent and just to be a team farming away bodies here on the second Erangel. So very quickly, if you're the coach, what do you tell them to at least make sure that they don't lose their heads going into the final map?
Boys, it was a great run. We've got a couple of matches left. Let's go in there. Let's have some fun. And then we'll go straight to that drawing board to keep ourselves back in the game in the next tournament.
Well, of course, there is going to be more Umzansi Esports League action, not just here in Season 5, but also beyond, brought to you here by Nodwin Gaming. Of course, we still have one final map of the evening coming in on Erangel. Sincerity Esports have no hope of making a big splash there, but there are several squads that do. So stick around, stay tuned, and make sure that you are abreast of all these happenings with myself, Snare, Axfire, and Viper. And we'll be right back right after this break. Welcome one and all back to the Umzansi Esports League. Season 5 is about to commence with the final map of the evening here in week number 9, day 1 of the semifinals. We'll be finishing up with Erangel Part 2. Of course, this is not only the wrap-up of this particular day of action here in the PUBG mobile side of things. We'll also be saying goodbye to several of the squads who will be unable to make it into the top 16. For some of them, though, their fate is entirely within their own hands. With a strong performance on Erangel, they can guarantee themselves a position in the finals weekend. Viper, let's talk about it. We need some very interesting predictions for this one. So I need damage numbers. These teams are about to get ready. It's going to be very action-packed. So tell me damage numbers of the MVP player up in this one.
Between 900 and 1,100.
900 and 1,000 for the player. All right. Team Actfire, what you got from me? How much is the team going to be dishing out from that winning squad?
You mean how much damage?
Yeah.
2,000. Yeah.
Okay. 2,000 on the team damage, 900 on the individual damage. Of course, this can only be found out in the game itself. Erangel Part 2, for the last time tonight and for the last time for several of these squads, we'll be giving you the action with Actfire and Viper. Gentlemen, take it away. Say goodbye to some of these squads. But more importantly, good luck, have fun, and I'll talk to you after the game.
Man, I'm pretty sure right now a lot of the teams that have got their last games right now, some of them already know, well, it's time to head back to their drawing boards and whatnot, and some of them have got sweaty hands right now because this game might actually make it or break it for them. For the ones that know they need to just go back to the drawing board, they need to start working all over again. What would be your advice for them, Tony?
I mean, I would say you made it this far. Obviously, you fought all the way into, the semifinals. So definitely, you do have good performances. So all you got to do is just go back into the drawing board, get into that promotion relegation, and trying to make it back up.
Yeah.
It's a very tough one for a lot of these teams to continue to build themselves up. There are a couple of teams who have already, should I say, lost that spot. Today is the last day for them to try as much as possible to qualify. For me, just go on and have that fun, and then there's still an option for you. It's not over yet. You still have that promotion relegation to play, to make it all the way back next season, and show what you're capable of. Sometimes it may just be one or two changes, maybe bringing in one or two players to make things better. Sometimes that may just be it. Shuffling things here and there. Sometimes it may just be analyzing your strategy. Like we saw in that last game, right? There was that player who was the last player versus BJE, and all he had to do was
Yeah.
push. All
In
he had
the
to do was
EFX, yeah.
push. Yeah, they lost that fight eventually, but I mean, if he had, pushed that very second, then he may have taken them down. He didn't have to wait. So yeah, sometimes it's just a situation like that. But for me, a team like Sincerity, who are in a position where they most likely have, I mean, we can say that they've gotten themselves, taken out. I feel like they should just go on and have their fun right about now.
Oof, yeah. It's not looking like too much fun right now. You can see inside at this point, just Ratata
Oh
rushing
my
in, and
god.
it's gonna get some punching into that one. I'm pretty sure Desire is probably locked off right now and headed straight back home. Like, yo, good game, guys. I'm off. Because yeah, at this point in time, if I were to be on one of those teams, I'll probably just head to sleep immediately because yeah, I do need it at this point. But I'm just putting it out there for every single one of these teams that might be in such a position. You just gotta rekindle that fighting spirit. For tonight, you might head up to sleep, just relax for now and everything, but definitely bring back that fire in the upcoming games, I must say.
Yeah, definitely bring me back in those upcoming games.
I see
All
what you
right.
did there, huh?
Yep. All right, all right, all right. So Insider taking advantage of that, taking out one of the players from Sincerity, and we'll be curious to see how this game actually does flow right there. There's a team that did not come into this particular game. Maybe it's one of those teams who has actually given up on, qualifying. There may be some of those teams who are like, you know what, we can't make it. So
Probably
definitely,
Delta Squad.
yeah, probably, and right now it's just really, really, really tough for a lot of teams, and I do sort of like understand why a lot of people will be, giving up, just being like, you know what, it's too hard. We're gonna go back into the drawing table and try to change things off. But my personal, advice to a lot of these teams, especially as someone who has maybe not managed a T1 clan, but at some level, struggled with a clan, that has, on of course on way lesser levels, you know. I would just say, just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep enjoying your gameplay. Just keep on, trying as much as possible to improve, and your time will come. There was this particular Umzansi where I'm forgetting what team that was. It was Team Infinity, that came on and won it. I mean, they were like the underdogs that season, and it was their time, and they were able to boost themselves up. So for me, I'll just say, just keep on doing what you're doing. And while you seem like that team that has gotten relegated right now, you may just be the team that comes back next season and absolutely, blows the lobby away.
Yeah, definitely time to bring in that whirlwind and blow away the lobby at this point. Team Unique, on the other hand, is going to be getting blown away as Ansley's on the receiving end right now from Sleepy, putting him to sleep with a couple of trunk darts from his weapon in the names of 5.56 right now. I'm trying to make sure he gets the confirmation. Rookie boy's got to be careful, as Zist might be able to spot him and get a couple of shots into his position. Sidemen, as of right now, is one of the teams down below in that table right there, and they've got to put in a lot of work, I must say. And this seems like a good start for them if they get the confirmations in, if they make sure they get those shots in. But we can see Nefme already moving in. But one thing I don't understand is why this is happening to Sidemen, I must say, because definitely they've got a really good set of players. Nefme, really good player. Sleepy is not bad. I've seen these guys in action, and definitely they've put in a lot of work right now. Sleepy, on the other hand, getting knocks right real quick. But I do see the movements coming in from Sidemen right now, Tony. They seem like they want this badly.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just down to synergy. When you do get a new player within your team, and it takes some time for things to just absolutely just blend in. Especially when you're coming against teams like Lag, teams like Mad Knights, teams like Desert Flames, teams like Slime for KT, who have been together for quite a long time. And it's very difficult to just form, just gather a couple of new players and somehow retain those performances that you're used to. So maybe that's the situation for a lot of these teams. We'll see how it continues to flow for them. But the boys from Sidemen, coming in right here, they've gotten a couple of knocks. They had one player, I do believe it was Nefme, who was taken down, but they've been able to get that revive right about now. On that chase for the rest of the players, I do believe from Zero Tolerance. They took out two players from Zero Tolerance, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So they'll be looking for those two players from Zero Tolerance, looking to take them out right in front of them. But they got to be careful because that player does have the buildings to work with. If they are going to somehow now begin to get approach closer to that building, he may be able to take one of them out. You can see Psycho going out there in the open as Phoenix is already beginning to take a look at him and looking to see if he can get one or two knocks before they approach and get really close to him.
Hmm. I see what they're doing right now. They are not exactly sure of his position and might be doing a sort of bait and switch real quick. Phoenix, on this other hand, is trying his best to stay as inconspicuous as possible, but multiple barrels pointing towards the direction of the sounds, and that's going to be Team Unique Case taking out right there in 15th place. It's not going to do much of damage to their position on that leaderboard, but for Sidemen, definitely, this is a good start for them. Even though I don't know if it's going to help them that much, but they should try their best at least to get some fragging power, some placement points, some kill points in this particular game. Early games right now we're down to 14 teams, and that is courtesy of the Sidemen taking out Team Unique.
All right. Sidemen putting in the work right here, taking out the boys from Team Unique, putting in the work that's absolutely needed. Unique, one of those teams that likes to cause a lot of trouble right there on the kill field. But turning our sights onto Lag, now taking out a player right there from Team Nzimbi. Nzimbi also one of those teams, who have not had it quite easy coming into this games right here. I do believe they still have some outstanding games, so it's not over for them yet, but they need to continue to grab those points that are very needed moving on to the last day for them to qualify away from that spot. They've lost one player right here coming up against the boys from Lag. I do believe that they're helping into the vehicles and looking to rotate away from that position. You can see Wizard OP, Dark Ghost, and the rest already now beginning to leave this spot, prioritizing getting themselves into a good spot as well. Now taking a look at the way things are going from Underrated Esports, taking out the boys from Mad Knight. A Savage goes down currently right there, so you can see on that kill feed, and it's a very tough one for a lot of this team. So we'll see how it currently goes down right there on the kill feed as the boys from Underrated are looking to continue to grab themselves some points. They're safe right here, Viper, but will they be looking to keep Mad Knight out?
Yeah. That's actually the question so asked right there. But one thing that still keeps bothering my mind is I was actually expecting Mad Knight to come into this particular games and give off a really dominating performance. Given what they pulled off earlier on in like week 2, week 3 earlier on in the league, I must say I was expecting Mad Knight to be like completely unstoppable, like rupturing people's skull all over the place and getting the kills. Just basically just astonishing us all. But they've seemed like they've reduced the tempo of what they've done earlier on. And but well, they are not doing too badly at the time. Probably they will tune it up back when they get into if they and when they get into the finals.
Yeah, obviously. So right now, let's turn our sides onto the boys from Raptors who are coming up against the boys from Lag. And you can see Lag just going absolutely crazy as they move on to that spot. And Fantasy with the heat right there as he does take on Shiva and now turning his sights again. Oh my
Wait,
goodness.
what did he just do too?
What is that? Fantasy right there with the 2 kills with the buggy. My goodness,
Raptors.
absolutely crazy as they take out Raptors from this game.
Oh, that's actually quite sad though. But on the bright side, right there for Team Lag, they are looking really strong. I think they want to get into that first position with just 12 games, and they're already on the right path right now. Five kills points already in their names, and they are definitely going to be looking to get some more. The body language, as you always say, from them right now does seem to be the aggressive one. You can see they are actively looking to take positions, actively looking to take the fight, and actively looking to get the kill to their advantage. It's such fun to see that we are seeing this kind of gameplay in the last game of today, and I would expect that probably they would have just found a location and just relaxing there, like, oh, we're doing quite well. But right now, they, they are going for a lot more.
All right. Looking at the way things are currently situated right here, Viper, we still got about 13 teams on this particular one. So, we always give the caster cost to one team so far. A couple of teams have currently gotten taken out. So, who is going to get your caster cost in this final game?
I'm giving it to Team Lago because
Uh,
they are vexing right now. They are trying to kill everybody. So yes, they should win the game.
Okay, so I'm going to give mine to Sidemen, all right, because they're currently getting into a fight right here. So let's see what my Costa Cost does for them as they're going to be coming up against the boys from Mad Nights. It does look like Sleepy has hopped into the buggy and it's like, I'm getting out of here. But he hits that wall and it's got to come down right there. And now
Oh
begins to
no.
send shots onto the boys from Mad Nights right there. Hunter's putting in the work from that distance and is able to take out one of those players from Mad Nights. And you can see Nefmi and the boys trying as much as possible to hold things down right there. Sleepy trying as much as possible to take out Beast, and with Beast really close to them, they have got to take their chance. Right here, you can see Psycho beginning to make that push, and he does a jump
Nice.
shot. It does not work.
Look at that situational awareness, Tyson. Situational awareness. Getting into the vehicle right there was just limiting your opportunity to make the movement. But Nefmi living up to his name, covering both angles, west, east, and dropping players left, right, and center while still thinking of his teammates. He is carrying the torch for his team at this point in time. 14 kills right now to the guys from Sidemen. They really do need this performance right there. He's got 0 kills to his name, but he's doing a lot of work. Mad Knight back up right there. That's going to be Tyson back up revive. But Nefmi is keeping it down. I do know the name. That was the man from Gamers United Nation before he joined Sidemen. And
Yeah,
this man has
yeah.
got a lot of experience. You see him with the AR, but he's particularly good with that Mini 14. He is a beast on that DMR real quick right there. Man,
Some
Nefmi, that was a beautiful performance from him though.
Yeah, beautiful performance coming in from Nefmi, but the cost, of course, certainly providing, a very difficult situation for the boys from Sidemen, as two of the players currently have gotten taken down, especially from the third party coming in from Mars, as Tobo and his boys are looking as much as possible to keep on, tormenting several teams around them, as two players from Sidemen have currently gotten taken down right there. Sidemen currently sitting down with 4 kills. They've got to find a way to rotate out of that particular situation, as other teams right here, as you can see, BJE, Underrated Sports, are looking to get themselves into that zone. These two teams have been fighting themselves for quite a while right now, but they somehow have been getting the revives. There's also Team Zimbi who is not off, that position where the boys from Underrated are currently situated at. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that does unfold as we continue to progress. But you can see right here, Nefmi tried as much as possible to see if he can begin to do damage onto the boys from Mars, and it's a very tough situation for them as we're moving on to our fifth zone right about now. Several different teams will now begin to look to rotate into their preferred spots within that zone, and it's a tough one for the boys from Sidemen, because Mars are currently just watching them like hawks.
Yeah, I know how this is gonna work out right there for Sidemen and Mad Knight, but both teams. Oh, look at that win on that one, spotting him out in the smoke, lasering him down really quickly. But the quick reactions from Nefmi getting out of there. Sleepy gives that cover fire immediately, but Trinity Gaming, on the other hand, is going to be receiving a couple of knocks right there from Vortex. As from Mars is getting hit hard by Team Lag. I told you, Team Lag, they are in for a time of their life tonight. Check them out, just getting the angles and getting the shots in. They are up 7 kills and still 4 players up alive right now. But 17 minutes into this game, zone 4 currently closing in. That's where we're going to be introduced to zone 5, where it's going to get really, really crazy. But looking at the number of teams we still have alive, we are in for a time right now. We are in for a really great time right now. As Team Lag immediately rushing forward to us from... What are you seeing this, Tony?
Crazy stuff coming in from Black as they do pull up onto that particular position where Mars are currently situated and take them out of the game. A lot gunning for that number 1 spot on that leaderboard.
What?
As they are just pushing and pushing and pushing several different teams around them. They're currently sitting down on 9 kills so far. They still got a full team, and we might be seeing a fight coming down between Lag and BJE right now.
Oh no, he's blindsided. Oh, this man has been blindsided, but immediately we've got EFX, okay, coming with that third party Team Lag, currently trying to get themselves back up to full team right there as Bizarre is going to get the revive. This man has been knocked a couple of times and that health bar is dropping fast. They need to make their move around this particular position really quickly because that zone is not going to be forgiving. Phoenix on this other hand is going to be keeping One Night at bay, but One Night keeping that angle, making sure he gets his team out of that position. How will they play this this one. Fantastic and 1-9 looking to make that rotation around that angle. Will they be able to make the rotations really quickly? Get BJE off their back. This is going to be an interesting one to see. But BJE on the other hand, that's going to be like, no, that is not going to be happening right now, as the shots are going to be connecting. But Sidemen, today, Sidemen has actually been popping in this final game really quickly. You can see them getting some shots in really on that end, and Team Lag, they've been on the front foot, the forward foot, really throughout the beginning of this game. But right now, it does seem like BJE is looking to put a stop to that right now, jumping straight into their position and firing rapid fires left, right, and center. They are down to just 2 players. Kakao has got to be careful. Fantaxi is just clinging up for his dear life at the moment. The grenade. Oh my Kakao with the grenade, Tony.
Man, crazy stuff coming in right there from Kakao. Another nade knock right there. Might just turn things around, but my goodness, it is the opposite way. And that nade does take Kakao down. You can see that nade putting up onto where Fantasy is going to situate. It does take down a bit of his HP, and BJE showing why they were sitting down on top and taking out Team Lag. Great performance all the way anyways from Team Lag, as they got themselves a couple of kills right there, moving into that position. They finished this game with 9 kills or 10 kills. I'm not really sure which one it was, but kudos to them. They've gotten themselves a lot of points right here in this final game of the night. Right now, about now, we might be seeing a fight coming down between the team BJE and EFX, and BJE just playing like a team that's looking to play spoiler for a lot of these teams right here. They can actually keep EFX out of qualifying if they do take them out on this particular game right here. You can see them beginning to make the rotations into that zone right about now, and EFX trying as much as possible to hold a position that will be favorable to them, as they do spot the boys from BJE moving in.
Interesting. This man is actually, I think he's trying to break open that door with the grenade, but it's not well placed enough right there. But he FX, red bars on multiple players, but that grenade might just land perfectly onto Phoenix. Nearly just missing him right there. But Nico on the other hand, it's just the last man left alive. It was the one that didn't push up onto BJE earlier on. Right now, he just seems to have that knack for surviving. It was Nico. He has that knack for surviving. You see, he's the last man left up alive right now. Spyro is currently bleeding up. Every single team out here is feeling the blunt, except for ZTS, as they are up top on that hilltop, dealing the damage down towards every single player. Red bars left, right, and center, but ZTS is looking strong with all full bars and enjoying the layout of the land, sending grenades and dealing damages left, right, and center yet again. That is going to be FX getting taken out, but look at that. Inzimpi right on top. Inzimpi has a knack for being in the right places, but they need to start converting their chances, making it count for them, Tony.
Yeah, exactly. Just like you said, they need to start, getting their chances, but now they get sent out of the game. And will that be the end for them? We'll take a look at the overall leaderboard at the end of the game to see what that means for Team Unzimpi, as we're now down to our final 5 teams of this particular game. You got BJE, you got Zero Tournaments. Your killer is who actually does need to get themselves a whole lot of points right there. Underrated Esports, and as well as the boys from Reela Insider. So we'll be taking a look and seeing how this game is going to pan out right there, as Paradox is taking on shots right there from Anonymous, who is trying as much as possible to get into a good spot within that zone right there. And Zero Tolerance is just trying as much as possible to make those rotations. Skydo is in a fight right there with Anonymous and Caramel. Why Paradox is also looking to send in those nades and those spots right there. He's taking a look at Hasbot, and it's a very tough one in this particular position, because Anonymous does have the heal advantage and the height advantage of this particular fight, and can start taking a look onto several of those teams, but Sleek just managing to evade the shots coming in from Paradox right there, and it's a very tough one for a lot of guys. But my goodness, take a look at that crazy man Vortex, as he does get not one but 2 knocks right there onto the players from Your Killer Is.
Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers out here. It's even crazier that a majority of the teams out here are still on a full squad. Even though that was reducing just a second ago, I could count four teams with with full squads. That's about 16 players on that one with just a solo or a duo just on the side. But that is reducing really quickly. We can see insiders riding back nothing to their L's right real quick. While your killer is on the other hand not looking too good for them as they've got multiple red bars on the screen. ZTS also has got their own red bar coming in right there by Sky Dudu. Dudu has got to get some Dudu into his system, get back on the horse real quick. I think Paradox is going to help him out on that one. But Vortex is really being a pain in the behind right there for your killer is right there. And man, oh man, this is all looking shades of crazy, crazy, crazy on all sides. As underrated esports is also feeling the brunt of the hits right now. How is this gonna go? Who do you think you are gonna favor right there in the charts? Drop your favorite teams. Which teams do you think is gonna be clutching this one really quickly? ZTS up on top
Yeah.
of the hill. Looking really strong on this one, but not too much space for them to work with. Tony, who do you think is clutching this one?
Mm. I think it's going to be zero tolerance because they're looking quite strong. They've got themselves a full squad coming up against, the boys from BJE, so they look like they might take this home. Underrated squad is also looking really strong. They've also got I do believe, a full squad, but zero tolerance has that extra bit of bite, and you can see them get it on knock right there. And Paradox is looking for that finish onto Clutch God, and he does get it. So right now, they're looking like they can seal this game up through coming up in a 3v4 situation, and they've got themselves 10 kills so far. Be curious to see how they do perform in this particular one. But Paradox and his boys have gotten another knock right there as Fellas does go down. It is now down to the last guy. It's down to this Paraboy to somehow try and find a way to seal something through in this particular game. How many players can he take before he goes down? Is he going to get those extra points? Is he going to be able to get the extra kill? And right here, while you see the boys from Zero Tolerance pushing up onto this one, can he get a knock onto Vortex? Can he revive his player? And you see that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. Zero Tolerance is trying to push up onto that zone right there. Let's see how it goes, Viper.
Hmm. This is the nice part right there. I think we've got like a 4v3 system going on right there. ZTS up to 10 kills. We've got a straight slam vehicle going straight in. I don't know why they did not do that earlier, as Kaidodo has got the grenades in them. A well placed grenade right now could actually change the. Oh, they are not exactly sure of their positioning. Oh, check it out. Fellas has been spotted right now as Vortex gets the connection. Now is the time for them to overload on their position. As we can see, Lord is going to be there oversight coming in. Pyros go down. Now this is the time for ZTS to make the push para. Boys get spotted, and that is gonna be it. That is the winner chicken dinner coming straight in to the guys from Zero Tolerance Kills with a total damage of 2,000 plus.
I
Interesting.
got it. My
Yep.
prediction.
Let's see how close I was. But yeah, that was a really good game from ZTS with 13 total kills right there.
Absolutely phenomenal game coming in from ZTS. The Zero Tolerance Guilds will find themselves a winner chicken dinner. They're only one of the evening. Not that they needed it, but this is certainly going to help solidify their position in the overall leaderboard. 28 points, the second highest tally of the evening. But more importantly, is these 13 eliminations, also the second highest of the evening. But more importantly, this is going to just really elevate them into the upper echelons. But I think at this point, Agfire, if we're being very honest, for squads like ZTS, who pretty much didn't have to worry about not qualifying, this was mostly about building momentum. And this is the kind of momentum that you absolutely want. It's going to be a very good story to tell your squad to be like, hey guys, before we even start the finals weekend, remember, we won the last game back in the semifinals. We're good. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on that one. Boys like Vortex, Paradox, they were absolutely phenomenal today. They have to ride on every single week on Skydo being their best performer, but there's something extra about the way Paradox and Vortex were playing today that just absolutely stunned the lobby. Even in situations where they weren't winning, we were continuously seeing top performances coming from them. So great job for them getting that victory at the end of the day to just cap their entire performance for the day.
I mean, speaking about how well these two players played with one another, we saw, Viper, your Killer is a team that absolutely needed this match to go well. And as we're looking at the MVP for what we got in Erangel Part 2, there were moments where between Skydo and Paradox, they literally took out the whole squad of your Killer is just between the two of them. Paradox 4 eliminations, at least 2 of them coming up against your Killer is. He looked solid. He also helped fulfill the prediction of the damage being done in this game. Shout out to them, making sure that our panel sounds good. But we still have to say goodbye to so many squads. And unfortunately, because of the fact that the top 6 slots were mostly filled by squads that didn't need them, there's a lot of other squads that, as a result of this Erangel Part 2, are now going to get left out of the finals weekend.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. That's the name of the game. Some gotta win, some gonna, go back and try to win again. It is what it is. But overall, I would say that was a beautiful stellar performance right there from ZTS. The communication was quite nice. The way they reacted to each one of the situations they found themselves in was also quite amazing. But it's worth mention that Team Lag came in with the right mindset, try to push every single fight, try to get themselves, as many points as possible. But quite unfortunately, they came across BJE. That was the ball stopper for them. And well, I would commend them on my own end as well.
Yep, they did come across some very stiff competition, which made it difficult for them to progress as they would have wanted to. However, they probably have overall on the side of Team Lag done enough. I understand why they wanted to push the envelope today on the 4th map of Erangel. However, the first 3 maps, we mentioned it before Erangel Part 2 began, that they'd leapfrogged 14 places. So they should be okay. However, we'll still see how that looks when we get to the overall rankings. For now, we're going to be looking at the match rankings and how these teams got themselves points from this particular situation. As it stands right now, here at the very bottom, it's this penultimate day, Actfire. So, of course, with the next 2 days, we're going to be starting out when we do Erangel Part 2, looking at the bottom first and then looking at the top. Team Unique, they didn't need these points. From Mars, they probably could have done with them. Trinity Gaming especially really leveled up today, and we'd already said goodbye to Sincerity Esports before Erangel even began. But talk to me about this. Raptor Esports, their 9th place, only 2 points. I don't think this is going to move them out of the top 16 just yet, but it does put them into this position where their future fate is no longer in their hands. They're pretty much hoping and praying that all the teams beneath them just play terribly tomorrow, but they have nothing left in the tank for them to give. Where do you think their heads are at right now on the squad? And what do you think the coaching conversation is like within the team environment?
I think obviously they're done and dusted when it comes to them showing up in the semifinals. So they will be hoping that the teams who are beneath them don't show in as much moment. But I don't see Desert Flame not showing up when they come into the picture to play. I don't see some other teams who haven't played here today not trying as much as possible to perform like Fear. So it's going to be a tough one for a lot of these guys to show what they are capable of in the next round, if they do qualify, if they maintain this kind of performances. But for me, the way I look at it is, you show what you're capable of. You've tried your best. If you don't qualify, you go and play the promotion relegation. You made it all the way to the semifinals, so you're still great. If you do qualify, then you just got to step things up, because you cannot maintain this level of performances, especially, I mean, if you're in a very tough spot and you're trying to get out of that top spot, and you're still maintaining that same level of performance, then something has got to change. So for me, that's basically it.
Unfortunately, Viper, sometimes change comes a little bit too late. Although you might make the correct changes to your gameplay, you might appropriate certain styles from other successful squads and incorporate them into your own game plan. Your Killer is and Team Nzimbi are perfect illustrations of why sometimes it can come a little bit too little, too late. Team Unique on the second page is an illustration, we spoke about it earlier, about how performing well early can really get you some good benefits. However, these squads, 6th and 8th in Erangel, very decent performances. But as we now go forward to look at the overall rankings, we're going to see that it doesn't do much for them, unfortunately. This is actually the most tragic thing. I think it's easier to talk to a team and have that conversation about we didn't perform as well as we'd expected, but it's much harder to have the conversation of, hey, we made the adjustments, but we just made them too late and they didn't have the impact we desired when they needed to.
Yeah, basically. But the fact that they were able to identify what they needed to change does mean that moving forward, they would be able to, cope in any other situations that they found themselves in. Although sometimes you need to make those changes early enough, and make sure it counts when you need it to count.
Speaking of counting, when you need the changes to count, here we see the overall rankings as the top 8 squads are revealed to us right now. Blackjack Esports, #1 position after their 16 matches. Team Unique right behind them. Who cares about these points? It's all about just making sure you're in the top 16. Slime 4KT and Team Lag, though, have very unique advantages in tandem with Relay Insider, having only played 12 matches. So they'll be in action again tomorrow. So they'll have a very good opportunity to not only just solidify their position here in the top 8, but potentially climb to the top of the leaderboard. Other squads, though, like ZTS, Underrated Esports, and From Mars, have done enough with the triple-digit placements that they should be good for the top 16. However, let's be serious, Fire. Page 1 on the penultimate day of the semifinals doesn't matter nearly as much as page number 2. First to 8 is where you're like, oh, okay, we can breathe a little bit. Things are okay for us, especially if you're like Slime 4KT, Team Lag, you have another bite at the cherry. It's going to be the squads that we're going to be seeing in just a moment on the second page, where all the real meat, all the real action is happening, because many of those squads have already played their 16 games. Some of them will still have 12 to go and still have some opportunities at the cherry. However, we've seen today with a team like Team Unique, they started the day in they started first. They're second now. They had very poor showing across 4 maps. And yes, we can say, well, they didn't necessarily need to show up. They didn't need to perform. However, there's still a risk that several of these squads that aren't necessarily as safe as they are will also find themselves having tough outings tomorrow. So it does become a situation where if you're on this cusp, if you're TMEFX, if you're Solo, if you're Chaos, no mistakes are allowed. Today might have been the last day you could ever make any kind of misstep. From tomorrow onwards, perfection is a requirement simply to play in the Umzansi Esports League.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams, like you see on the second page, as you can see right there, are sitting down with outstanding games, except Raptor. Every single one of them has games tomorrow. From Solo to Chaos to Trinity to Mad Knight. So that definitely will give them a boost. Trinity Gaming able to grab themselves a lot of points to come up on that leaderboard into that second page. So great job for them. Team Apex, BBC, I expect them to grab some points and continue to climb up on that leaderboard. Team EFX, we spoke about them earlier on, has been able to battle their way into the second page right now. So I do believe that EFX will be able to qualify into that top 16. I believe so. I very much believe so. The team that I'm worried about is Raptor Esports. They are currently sitting down with 16 games played. They're not going to play tomorrow. They are just 5 points off EFX, the same amount of points with Solo Esports, and it's not looking good for them, because going into that next page, there are a couple of teams who may just be looking to grab that spot where they are situated in.
To make matters even worse, Viper, going into tomorrow, which is going to be the final day of the semifinals here in the Umzansi Esports League Season 5, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming, is going to be the fact that it's going to be versus the groups are going to be markedly different. Group B has generally been the group that dominates the competition the most. Group C slightly next to them, but Group A has looked to be the weakest overall group, which does mean that when we get into tomorrow's action, a lot of these points are going to end up being dropped. A lot of these teams might not be able to advance. So looking at this third and final page here, talk to us about what are we anticipating for tomorrow. We saw a team in Zimbi, Your Killer is, for example, leveling up a little bit today, showing us versions of themselves we haven't seen in quite a while. Can they replicate this performance tomorrow, when it might not be, or rather where the lobby might actually be more lopsided than it was today?
Well, given the fact that they had the spirit to fight, even though they've got a really really strong lobby today, it's a good omen that tomorrow they are going to even come in harder than they came in today. So definitely I'll be looking to see a lot more from Nzimbi tomorrow, and hopefully they will be able to push themselves straight into that next page. Although they are a little bit shy of getting to that next page with almost 30 to 40 points right out there, so they've got their work cut out for them. But right as Fire said earlier on, it's not looking too good right there for for the team that is just down in that 16. What's the name of the team again? Just went straight past my head. They need it's already done. Everything is left with what it happens tomorrow with Desert Flame, Aatrox, and Team Inzimbi right there. So I don't know, but for now it's really bleak for them.
All right, boys, let us put our cards on the table. I want to hear from you, Actfire. Two squads that are currently in the top 16 that you believe will drop down to the bottom 8, and two squads that are occupying this bottom 8 position that you think will make the run back tomorrow into the top 16.
I think Delta. I'm not sure who else. I think it's gonna be just Delta. I don't think it's gonna be two. I think I'm looking at the second team. Okay, so I think Delta and EFX. Now that I'm looking at this page, I think that Desert Flame definitely are gonna go up, except there's some miracle. I think that I mean it's over for Sidemen. Uh I think that Desert Flame and Aatrox are gonna go up. Yeah.
Desert Flame and Aatrox. Ooh, that's intriguing. How do you
Yeah.
feel about this one, Viper? Who do you see tomorrow being able to make that all-important last-minute climb back into the top 16?
Yeah, it's really tight between Desert Frame, Aatrox, Team Inzimbi. I don't know about your killers. It's a bit of a stretch for them, but those three teams in 18, 19, 20 definitely they have a chance to push themselves up into that next page if only they can show up and put up with at least 2 games or 3 games consistently with a lot of points.
Of course, what will help them a lot in being able to put out those kind of performances are going to be getting as many eliminations as humanly possible. So as customary, we're going to be seeing right now what the top 5 eliminations in the entire competition look like so far here in the semifinals of the Umzansi Esports League. Of course, unlike many other of our metrics, when we do take into account our eliminations, we take into account from the beginning of the league stage, going into the semifinals, all the way through to the end of the tournament to try and find out which is the player that's popping off, which are the squads that have the most consistent heavy hitters occupying them right now. That top 5 has been, well, let's be serious. The top 4 and 5 have been in flux. The top 3 have been solidified for quite a long time. So when we do get to that, I'm expecting to see Skydu still occupying that number 1 role because he's just been doing amazing things. And what a shock! What a surprise, Actfire. Look who it is. It's Skydu. However, there is a shock here. Look how high Kakao has climbed up. Most of this, shockingly enough, comes just from today. He might not have gotten any MVP votes. He might not have gotten himself into a situation where he's the top eliminator on the leaderboard, but his consistency is starting to pay off. Even when Lag Esports overall hasn't been doing well, Kakao, we've always mentioned him as a shining light on the squad. And here, look at what he's been able to do. 57 eliminations, tons and tons of damage, especially countenance with not that much survivability time. This is incredible. And yet again, this is going to be another confidence booster for Team Lag going into the finals weekend.
Yeah, definitely some crazy one right there. But there's also something that we haven't mentioned all the way in that third spot. We do have Zeke finally crossing that 10,000 damage mark. Okay, he has just 56 kills, but his damage has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's been nuts. Don't you feel, Actfire, that like probably Real Insider is one of the most unlucky squads where there's often been situations where they're the ones getting a surprising amount of hits, bringing you very close to being knocked down, but then some other team comes and just takes the kill away from you. And you're just like, what the hell is going on? And it feels like Real Insider has been in that
Yeah.
situation so
Every
many times.
single time.
Real has also been in the situation where they're the one squad that's been reliably third-partied whenever we get towards the final zones.
Yeah, that happens. That happens, especially in the semifinals. But maybe it will change in the finals, and they might have like better luck. Who knows? Who knows? But seeing Zeke in that third spot with that damage just goes to show that a lot of kills have been stolen.
Yeah, quite a lot of kills have been stolen away, but nonetheless, it's managed to put himself into that top 3 category for eliminations. Viper, I'll give you the final word here for this evening of PUBG Mobile action. As we go into tomorrow, the final day, what do you think is going to be changing going from the semi-final stage into the final stage of the competition? What do you think are the key lessons that these squads should have learned over the last 9 weeks of action?
Well, I believe a lot of the squads have seen each other play. They've watched reaction time. They've watched the rotation patterns of each and every one of these other teams, and they will definitely be reacting on that moving forward into the final. So we are going to be seeing a lot more streamlined gameplay in the finals. We're going to be seeing a lot more teams handling themselves way better. Hopefully, we'll be seeing that communication, even though we are not in the team. We'll be seeing that communication manifesting itself right there on our screen, I must say. But yeah, from me, technically this is the last match I'm going to be commenting on for these semi-finals right there. I am looking forward to see which one of the teams are going to be pushing themselves right into the final stage tomorrow.
Of course, Viper is only leaving us for the semifinals. He will return for that finals weekend, as will many of the squads that we did see in action here today. Many of them will not, however, will only be 100% certain of which squads will be joining us for that final squad weekend and which won't after tomorrow's day of games, as we have one more day of action here in week number 9 of the Umzansi Esports League. So you certainly do not want to miss it, because the top 16 is still not defined. Most of these squads still on 12 teams, or 12 matches rather, and many of them can make that final push after tomorrow's games. So, of course, make sure that you are going to be here joining us at the same time, same place to commence with those games. In the meantime, make sure that you're going to be giving your thanks and your gratefulness towards not just the Nodwin Gaming Africa squad that has made this all possible, but give your shout outs towards Act Fire, that's Fire with 2 E's, and of course, at Viper as well. Let them know exactly how much do you enjoy their casting. Let them know how much you want them to be back here yet again for the finals weekend. And of course, you make sure that you return here ready, hydrated, and prepared for some PUBG mobile action within about 24 hours. With that, here at Umzansi Esports League Season 5, brought to you by Nodwin Gaming, we will be signing out, but only for the second to last time here in week number 9. Tomorrow, we round out the semifinals, and we truly begin the road to crowning the best squad in the African PUBG mobile scene. Until then, this has been Nodwin Gaming Africa, bringing you the Umzansi Esports League. We'll return very shortly, but please make sure that you take care of yourself, hydrate, love yourself, and also please be positive in the games that we enjoy, because it's all about having fun within this amazing landscape of PUBG. Till tomorrow, we love you. It's Snare, Act Fire, and Viper for the last time, signing out. We'll see you in the finals.